nutritious meal, and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth partying with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave. But unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days, they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys know, we are the Sports Loudmouths. I am your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Speedy. I need a headache. Petey. Yes, I need a headache, or I have a headache, or whatever the hell you want to call him. And obviously, Tyler, a.k.a. Mr. Mossball Harrison. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. You can check out our website by going to www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. What are you saying over there?
I made $100. What, you made what? $100. Well, congratulations. Tyler made $100. Maybe he'll buy us a pie of pizza tomorrow. Anyways, Nathan wants to know if he could join us at 11. Yes. Nathan. He will send you a link. Is he going to show up? Yeah, he'll show up. We have a great show lined up for you guys at 10 o'clock. We will have, and we will be talking more than $100. We will be talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy, and we're going to talk about his podcast and his youth football team and his career as an NFL player. We're going to get into all the divisional games, arguably one of the greatest weekends of football we're ever going to see. We're going to go through each game, and we'll go into the ins and the outs, and really going into the NFC and AFC title game on really our thoughts. And then tomorrow we'll make our picks. A lot of things to talk about. We'll talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame, as Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and still Pete Rose are not there, and David Ortiz somehow on a first ballot makes it to the Hall of Fame, which, by the way, he has background of taking PEDs. So how the hell did he make it and the other guys didn't? So we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. And again, tomorrow we have a lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Bulls of the 98 season, and really get into if Michael Jordan decided to stay for another year or two, does really what was I telling you? Phil Jackson. Does Phil Jackson go to the Lakers and start a dynasty? And does Shaquille O'Neal sign with the Lakers and build the dynasty over there with the LA Lakers? So we'll get into that tomorrow. We'll argue about that. And who was a better coach, Pat Riley for the Lakers or Phil Jackson? So that's another thing. That's going to be another debate tomorrow. But and we have great guests tomorrow. Who do we have? Brandon, go ahead.
We got at 10 o'clock, former NFL wide receiver Brandon Lloyd, played for 6 different teams. He'll be on at 10. And then right at the beginning of the show, around 9, Football Outsider's editor-in-chief, AP All-Pro MVP voter, and ESPN Plus NFL analyst Aaron Schatz.
And of course, Snug says David Ortiz should have gotten a higher percentage of the vote. No way. He shouldn't be in the Hall. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. If he got caught with PEDs, which he has been, and he was on that list, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. The fact that the MLB has let him go into the Hall of Fame when it has been proven that he has taken PEDs is a catastrophe. When Barry Bonds was a 400 and 400 player before he did PEDs, and he didn't even come close to 75%. A-Rod got, what, 10%, 12% of the ballot? Yeah.
That was an improvement for last year.
And then Roger Clemens, who's out too. The two guys that'll never make it to the Hall of Fame, two of the greatest players at their position. We'll get into that a little bit later. So why don't we get into the divisional games? Because the divisional games is really everything that everybody has been talking about all week. And we're going to go into each game, the first game to the last game. And all of them got better and better as the games went by. The Bengals versus Tennessee, a game where, honestly, I didn't even think it was going to be close. Now, I did pick the game to be close because most playoff games and divisional games are usually that. But this particular game, I thought being that Joe Burrows was a first-time playoff guy, and this is his second playoff game, I didn't know if he was going to show up. And everything that happened in the first game where everybody was saying that Oakland got cheated, I wasn't sure if Joe Burrow was going to show up to the game and play as well as he did. And really, when you look at the big picture of what the Bengals were in this game, they defined me as the new New England Patriots. If you remember the Patriots of the early 2000s, the young defensive, veteran offensive line type of Patriots, that's who the Bengals remind me of. Now, again, the Bengals offensive line is horrible. It's not anywhere close to what the Patriots were. But the defense reminds me a lot like the Patriots. A good front seven, a secondary that was getting better and better by the year. They had a good running game with Joe Mixon all season long and a young quarterback that is so cool in the pocket. When was the last time you seen a quarterback play that way? Tom Brady. But really, when you watch this game and you see all the different things that really stood out to me in this game was really the poise and understanding of reading the defense, the Tennessee Titans defense, which to me in the second half of the season was one of the top 3 defenses in all of football. And another thing is a young kicker that's becoming a superstar right in front of our eyes. A kicker that before he kicked that 48-yard field goal, he went up to his players and said before he stepped on the field it looks like we're going to the AFC title game, boys. Before he kicked that 48-yard field goal. This team has so much swag and so confident and understands who they are as a team. And another thing, when you talk about Joe Burrow and who Joe Burrow is, you wonder when he came into the league and he was the Heisman Trophy winner and he had that unbelievable Heisman speech. And then he was the number 1 pick when, remember, he was a third-string quarterback from Ohio State, and he goes to his senior year to LSU and has one of the greatest college seasons a quarterback could possibly have. Comes into the league, plays very well, and tears his MCL and ACL and is out for the season, and then comes back as quick as he does.
What was it, 8 months?
Mm-hmm.
A team that wasn't even that good when you look at their record the year before. I think they had 4 wins.
4-11-1.
And then this year, winning, I think, 10 games, getting into the playoffs as a wild card team, and not as a wild card, as a division. As a division, winning their division, the AFC North, from the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the favorites going into the season, the Cleveland Browns. And just playing as well as they have all the way to the divisional game. And then you go into this game and you look at what does this team need to do against the Tennessee Titans when the Tennessee Titans were 100%, almost 100% healthy. They bring back Derrick Henry, who did nothing in the game. Really, I know he had a touchdown. Everybody, he really didn't play as well as we've seen Derrick Henry play. In his 3 playoff appearances, he's had 150 yards. This game, he did not. And then you look at the other players that we talk. Jamar Chase, a young rookie, playing outstanding football throughout the season and showing up in the playoffs where a lot of people thought, these are young players. But they played poised. They played like veterans. And then you talk about even Higgins. Higgins made some important catches throughout that game that kept the Tennessee defense off balance. It is absolutely remarkable what the Bengals did on Saturday afternoon. And Joe Burrow, and look at him, he's very poised. After the game, he says, get used to this. This team is going to be here every single year. We're going to win every single year. I think that when you try to compare this quarterback to any quarterback in history of the NFL, the guy that, really stands out to me is Tom Brady. A pocket quarterback. Now, he's better outside the pocket than Tom Brady, but the poise, the guy, the way he stands in the pocket, the way he takes abuse, he's not afraid of getting hit. And you look at the understanding of reading defenses and calling audibles at the line of scrimmage. You could shake your head all you want, Tyler. This is the guy that if you want me to, just like Josh Allen, when everybody talks about Josh Allen, and who does he remind everybody as? And people are trying to say, well, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and now these guys, and we're going to get into the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes game. Josh Allen reminds a lot of people with his arm strength of a Dan Marino. Patrick Mahomes reminds a lot of people of many different quarterbacks that you can compare and contrast to. And a guy that sees and reads defenses and runs out of the pocket as well as he does. Now, I'm not saying Joe Burrow is going to be Tom Brady. But when you're looking at Tom Brady possibly retiring this year or next year, when he needs to pass the torch to the next guy that you could compare and contrast to him, I believe, Speedy, it is Joe Burrow.
348 yards amidst 9 sacks has to be one of the most impressive performances under the offensive line circumstances that you could get. The Bengals' offensive line in the regular season was improved, but still not great. It still was a big flaw in their team. And the Titans sacked him 9 times. Now, Burrow did run away from a lot of them and took some bad sacks at certain times. Okay. But still, you're right. That poise was really tremendous. And when it looked like the Titans had a lot of this momentum back, the Bengals took it right back from them. And Joe Burrow made the big throw when he needed to. Jamar Chase set up the game-winning field goal. And by the way, we have a caller.
All right. Who are we speaking to?
Hey, you're speaking to Caleb from Foxborough Beat.
What's going on, Caleb? How are you?
I'm doing good. I just happened to catch your live stream as I'm scrolling through, and I saw that good old Tom Brady was one of the topics tonight.
Absolutely. And me speaking about Tom Brady and trying to compare and contrast Joe Burrow to him, it's very interesting when we go, we look at that game and look at the poise of this quarterback, and even Tom Brady in his rookie season, his second year, because his first year in the playoffs and what they did in the playoffs, Tom Brady wasn't the one that really stood out. It was the defense. But Tom Brady, the one thing that you notice about Tom Brady was he wasn't afraid of getting hit, and he stood in the pocket, he stayed still, and he threw the ball, and he launched the ball. And that to me, as cool as Tom Brady, I wouldn't say Tom Brady is cocky, but as cocky and as cool and collective as Joe Burrow is, he reminds me a lot. I mean, he has the tendencies of what Tom Brady, intangibles too, of what Tom Brady has.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think Burrow has a I don't want to say limitless ceiling, but I think that I think the Cincinnati's going to go a long way with Burrow. But as far as Brady's retirement, which was kind of like what I was peeking at when I saw the header, I really can't see this being Brady's like going away game, coming this close to pulling out a signature comeback and just going out like that. I can't see Brady just be like, you know what, I'm done. But that Buccaneers roster is going to have a decent amount of turnover as we go into next year. And it'll be an interesting thing to follow. And it just came to mind because I'm writing up a piece about why Tom Brady shouldn't retire now. But I think it'll be an interesting offseason again to see where Tom goes. And I think we'll have an announcement fairly soon. But
there are stories coming out from Tom Brady's camp that it might not be Tampa Bay. If he does come back, it might not be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been hearing through the grapevine it could be the San Francisco 49ers that he might.
Could you imagine Brady going somewhere else at age 45 to play a one-off season?
That's where he's always wanted to go.
Well, he grew up as a San Francisco 49ers fan.
I get that. I get that. But you're 45 years old. You might have one more year left, and you're going to learn an entire new offense. And again,
Kyle Shanahan's going to say, "You do what you do. We'll figure out how to work around you." So that's not. Come on now. You're not Tom. You don't teach a dog new tricks. this dog knows what he's doing, and you just kind of work around him.
The team that lost this game that we were just talking about might need him too. The Tennessee Titans.
He's not going to.
No,
He's not
there's
going
the only team he's going to play for. The only two teams he's going to play for next year if he comes back is the Buccaneers for one more year or San Francisco. He's not going to Tennessee. He's not going back to the Patriots. It's either one or the
he's
other.
Certainly not going back to the Patriots.
No.
You think Bill's going to welcome him back with
No.
open arms? You're out of your mind.
No, it's one or two teams, but there is something coming out from different different writings and different stories that I've read that Tom Brady's always wanted to play for San Francisco. He grew up a Joe Montana fan. San Francisco hasn't won a Super Bowl in how long? Even though they have a chance to win it this year with Jimmy Garoppolo, it wasn't because of Jimmy on why they're there. It's really because of the defense and the way that defense played throughout the game, and the special teams were sensational. San Francisco's special teams in that game. But if San Francisco, is one game away from making it to the Super Bowl, and they have all their players coming back next year, they're not losing anybody. If they can add a Tom Brady to that team,
you don't know if Trent Williams and Alex Mack are going to come back, but on the roster will be very similar.
I mean, they'll franchise tag Williams if they need to.
No, he's signed already. I mean, like he might retire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Well, Gronk is a free agent. Who knows if he's coming
Gronk's
back?
playing with Brady or he's retiring. There's no.
It doesn't. I'm just saying, Gronk's not coming back. Probably Chris Godwin's not coming back. They're not going to be able to re-sign him. Okay, there's a bunch of players right now that are going to be free agents. They're not going to be able to re-sign them. So is Tom Brady going to go back to a depleted Buccaneers team or go to a San Francisco 49 team, Niner team that's ready to win now and has a chance has a chance to win? Yes, it's a harder division. You still have to play the LA Rams twice a year. And I believe it's the hardest division in football. Yep. You don't know if Russell Wilson's going to be with the Seattle Seahawks next year. I mean, there's stories coming out that he probably isn't. I mean, I'm hearing Las Vegas, by the way. But Caleb, I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you see Tom Brady deciding, you know what, I'm going to play one more year? Why not go to San Francisco and try to win a championship the championship that San Francisco hasn't won in what was it, 20-something years? They haven't won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, this would be a great opportunity to finish his career at the place that he, watched and really learned how to play quarterback in San Francisco.
Well, yeah, I think it really depends on what San Francisco's cap situation is, because Tom Brady's not going to play for free. He'll play for next to free, but I don't think he's going to okay, well, here's a $1 million deal. Here you go, and you can have your send off here. I don't think Brady would do that. I think he might just retire at that point. But I think it's an interesting scenario where you bring Tom Brady back to San Francisco and have it, kind of come full circle. But it's really hard for me to see him pick up and move to a different environment just for a season. But you know what? Anything's possible. And, much like on the field, I refuse to say that anything is past Tom Brady. But it's going to be an interesting offseason for sure. And
there are stories coming out from also Brady's camp is that his son is going, I think, to middle school or high school or something like that, his older son, and he wants to play quarterback, and Brady really hasn't had a chance to really watch these kids grow up because he's been a quarterback practically half his life, and that he wants to coach his son and really see the development of his kid moving forward. So maybe Tom Brady sees it to be an end. I don't know, but I can't see him going back to the Buccaneers. I mean, the Buccaneers are going to be depleted next year. This is not going to be the same Buccaneers team that they've been the last two seasons. They're not. This whole season, this was the first time, that game against the Rams was the first time that team was practically 100% healthy. That was the first time that the defense actually played together since the first game of the season. So you look at that, you look at the team as a whole, that defense too, they're going to be missing play. I think JPP, if I'm not mistaken, they can actually opt out of his contract and get rid of him. I don't know if they're going to bring JPP back. He's not the same player he was last year.
And their rookie outside linebacker, Tryon, played well too. So
yes, and they're going to have to pay White. White's going to want a lot. He wants extension.
Well, by the time that's Levante David's going. So
I'm just saying, I don't see Tom. If Tom Brady comes back, it's not going to be with the Buccaneers. Also, the Jags hired their new coach today, and I'll give Jeff a lot of credit because he's the one who's been saying it. Byron Leftwich is now the new
He's
head
not
coach.
going to Jacksonville.
Yeah, he signed. Yes, he did.
Yep.
Breaking news: he signed with.
Well, no,
Jacksonville.
Byron. I knew Byron was going to Jacksonville. I heard that today.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say he's going to Jacksonville. I said that because Byron Leftwich left the Buccaneers, does he go back to the Buccaneers? And I don't know.
I think he's saying it might give him more of an incentive to leave.
That's what
I thought he was saying
No,
that Brady's gonna go to Jacksonville. They're not stumping Trevor like
they're not going to win in Jacksonville.
No, what I'm saying is if you look at the Buccaneers right now, they're losing coaches. They're probably going to lose players. They want to get younger. And Bruce Arians, with this whole Antonio Brown, if this grows legs and if there's any truth to this story, and the NFL will investigate it, if there's truth, he's going to lose his job.
Antonio Brown said he's going to sue the Bucs more than he sued the Raiders.
I mean, he could very much, if he could prove that he took Trenanol or whatever else.
Yeah, whatever that
whatever it is.
substance was, yeah.
What are you going to say? Spit it out.
This is all I'm going to say about Antonio Brown. This situation aside, how he acted after Tampa Bay lost after all Tom Brady did for him, the man's a schmuck.
That's fine.
We've been knowing that Antonio Brown is bad. Don't
like why are we even mentioning this guy?
Because Bruce Arians is going to lose his job.
Bruce Arians is retiring at the end of the year anyway.
That's not what I heard. If Tom Brady comes back, he's staying there. Now, if this story becomes a story that becomes true, and he's not lying about it, not only is Tampa's going to be fine, they might lose a pick. They could lose a first-round draft pick because this is an illegalized substance that was illegalized 7 years ago from the NFL. So you should not be shooting play. And he did it twice. Not one game, but 2 games. Not just the Jet game, the game before that. And now, if this story comes true, not only are they going to get fined and all that other stuff, lose picks, he's going to lose his job. Why would Tom Brady go back to the Buccaneers? There'd be no reason. And that's why if he wants to play another year, the only team that really stands out and sticks out to me that he would go to is the team that he's always wanted to play for. He grew up rooting for a long, long time, and that's the San Francisco 49ers.
And don't count out them signing Gronk to come with them.
I think Gronk is done. I even at the end of the game. I don't know, Caleb, did you hear what Gronk said at the end of the game when they asked him?
I did see that Gronk said if you asked him right now, he would say he's not coming back.
Yes. He's not coming back. And the reason why is there's a story coming out that I think WPIX or TBS is going to give him his own show. He's going to do a game show, the Gronk Factor or some crazy.
I can see him doing that.
He's getting a show. He's going to make just as much money doing that than playing on a football field. I don't know if I see him going back and playing football.
The only reason
he won a Super Bowl last year.
I get it.
He's got nothing else to prove.
He's the best tight end of all time, but this is why I don't give that story any type of validity or weight in his decision. He walked away from a WWE or actually cut his WWE contract short.
He's got a bad back.
And play football.
He's got a bad back. I didn't see him going to do WWE stuff.
But that stuff is safer than playing professional football.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, who was an MMA fighter, what did he hurt his spleen or something like that? Wrestling, and he had to have like how many surgeries or some crazy that it wasn't with MMA. It was wrestling that caused him that problem.
It started there, but that's because of the steroids. That had nothing to
wrestling
do with wrestling.
Is just what? Oh, Jeff is putting up. What is it? Toradol.
Toradol is not banned by the NFL.
As far as what we know, it is banned. That's what they're saying, and that's what the story is coming out. If it is, that is a banned substance from the NFL.
Ben also says Rodgers and Adams to Denver is his prediction. Jeff says MLB.
Well, listen, I'll let you guys get back to the show. I wanted to call in and remind you that I'm still available if you need me.
Absolutely, we're going to bring you on again and keep listening because we're going to go through all the games, and I'm sure we're going to have some interesting callers yelling at us. So thank you, Caleb. Keep listening, bud.
No problem. Just keep me in touch.
Absolutely.
Jeff says MLB has no say who goes in. Yeah, it's the Baseball Hall of Fame committee. We just had the wrong words on that.
Send Speedy the article. Because why is the NFL and why is Antonio Brown's team saying that it is illegal? So unless they know something,
it's Antonio Brown's team.
Snug says, you need to know. Snug says Ryan Tannehill was awful. The Titans should cut him and give Aaron Rodgers whatever he wants to win a Super Bowl.
That would be interesting.
Nathan says
I could see
Bengals have
Rodgers
a
going to
decent
Tennessee.
chance to beat the Chiefs. Jeff says, what's worse, the Bengals offensive line or Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs? Stuck says the Dallas Cowboys, ? The Bengals were okay, but they benefited from then interceptions by Tannehill tossed. We like to talk
First
about
play of
Tom
the game.
Brady as the goat of all goats, all hail goats. Joe Burrow looks like what Macaulay Culkin wished he was growing up. Tom wants the ultimate challenge. He signs with the Jags and takes it to the Super Bowl. Ben says, in a perfect world, Brady and Rodgers retire. Ben, is that what you really want as a Packers fan? Yeah. Stark says, I don't know. These WWE guys get pretty
Aaron
beat up.
Rodgers, I'm just saying, letting everybody know. We'll get into Aaron Rodgers. He's not retiring. I'm just letting everybody know that.
I agree with you.
I know 100% he's not retiring.
I agree with you.
I know you are. I'm
but
telling
I'm
you,
just saying, as a
he's
fan,
not
I'd rather you
retiring.
retire than
There is no way he's retiring. I'm just letting everybody know that. Go ahead.
Snug says, I don't know. These WWE guys get pretty beat up on those bumps. And now Jeff is on the phone.
I understand.
Jeff, what's going on, man?
Errol, how are you?
What's going on, bud?
Hey, listen, not having an argument with you, but Toradol is not banned. The only thing that they've done is the NFLPA sent a letter to its members that said, try to limit taking it because Albert Hainsworth believes that that's what caused his kidney to fail. And it's also known to cause excessive bleeding. And, if you get hit or something and have some internal injury, you don't want it to bleed more or whatever. But it's not illegal.
I don't know why. Then why is Antonio Brown's team saying that it is illegal and that if it is proven that it's illegal? I mean, Bruce Arians.
Antonio Brown's team. You answer your own question.
Listen,
I'll be happy to send you the article.
I believe you. I trust you. If you want to send it to Speedy, Speedy will read it on the show because I'd like to know what the article says. But it's interesting. And listen, I'm not saying that you're lying. Honestly, I'm sure you're telling the truth because you obviously know your ins and the outs of the way the NFL works and some of these different, because after what happened with the Sean Payton thing, and by the way, we'll get into the Sean Payton retirement and where he could go.
Retirement.
Well, he first of all, he cannot sign. He can't go to the Cowboys he can't go this year to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are going to have to trade picks to get him.
I understand.
So that's not going to
He's
happen.
probably
right
not
away.
coaching this
year. But I believe that Mike McCarthy will be fired if they don't do anything in the playoffs next year or even make the playoffs. Mike McCarthy will be retired. So he will be fired, and they will be
fired already.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So Speedy, just so you know, Speedy can go to my Twitter and it's up on my Twitter.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. You could stay on, Jeff. I just want to finish up, and continue talking about the Bengals. I've been so impressed with this kid, and we're trying to compare. Like, we talk about Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and we know these guys are the two up and coming leaders and the faces of the NFL, and these guys are going to create such a good. You're going to want to see the Buffalo Bills every year play the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. You're going to want to see that the way they played in that game, and we'll get into that. I think it's one of the greatest games I've ever seen offensively. But this kid, Joe Burrows, when we talk about the next, Joe Burrow, the next up and coming quarterbacks that are coming out, and we talk about when we talk about I don't know, where we talk about Justin Herbert or Zach Wilson, those guys, Justin Fields, those guys, those are the next up and coming 2-3 year quarterbacks that we've seen. And Joe Burrow coming back from an injury of this magnitude and doing what he did this year, getting his team to win the division. And let's be honest, none of us thought Cincinnati was winning that division. Right. Nobody.
I picked them to win.
Did you?
Yeah, of course I did.
No, you didn't, Jeff. We looked up the picks last week because the Beeve wanted to know. You had the Browns.
100%.
No, you had the Browns winning the division at the start of the year.
Oh no! I had them beating Tennessee this last week.
Oh yeah. No, we're talking about nobody had the Bengals winning the division, the AFC North.
Oh, division. I thought you meant this last week. Sorry,
nobody would have thought. And your thoughts on the playoffs, and we're doing that, CJ. So keep listening. What really stood out to me with Joe Burrows is his consistency of understanding. Joe Burrow, whatever, man. I don't care. Joe Burrow, the consistency of what he is in the pocket. And really what he does on and off the field, the confidence level, how he pushes his players, and really the leadership, even off the field, on the sidelines. If you watch the NFL Network after this week in Divisional Series, they had mics on all the quarterbacks. And you hear Joe Burrow talking to his offensive line, his defensive players, when they started getting themselves into trouble in the fourth quarter. And to me, what I love about Joe Burrow is not his talent level, not his arm strength. It's his confidence. They call him Joe Cool, okay? It's his confidence level in the pocket, not being afraid of being hit. He was sacked 9 times. 9 times. And he stood in the pocket. He made every single throw that he needed to make. 348 yards. What did he have? 2-3 touchdowns in the game. He played great. And there's no quarterback that really, to me, out of the first 2 games of this weekend, that really stood out more than Joe Burrow, Speedy.
CJ says, and Jeff is full of shite, but tell him I still love him, even though he's a schmuck. You want me to read the article
what
now?
are you talking about? I picked.
No, you don't
picked
have
the
to.
Bengals
We're
win
talking
this
about this.
Okay.
You can read the article after our guest.
Gotcha.
Okay. And how about you, Tyler? I mean, you're back and forth. What did you think of that game? Was there something that stood out more than Joe Burrow in the game? Because to me, the only thing that really, the kicker, the Bengals kicker.
I was gonna say Evan McPherson's gonna start bringing like kicking to attention because no one really.
Tucker brought it.
Well, no, everyone recognized Justin Tucker as the best kicker in football. Adam Vinatieri is known as the GOAT of kicking, but this Evan McPherson kid's gonna start putting them on like Wheaties boxes and start making like, oh,
I don't know about that, but
watch
the kicker swag.
Yeah, like people are gonna be like, oh, you're a kicker, because Evan McPherson will tackle somebody.
Right.
The biggest takeaway for me was
Jeff. We'll let you go. Hold on one second. Go ahead.
The Bengals won that game, but the Titans lost that game. Ryan Tannehill's performance was outright awful. It was terrible.
We all know he's horrible.
No, he's an
He's
NFL
a horrible.
quarterback.
He was
He's
the
an
worst
NFL
quarterback at it. No, he was the worst quarterback going into the divisional games
Well,
by far.
Right? No,
by
I'm
far.
not disagreeing with that part. I'm saying that he's an NFL quarterback. And
No, he's not. I don't think he is.
Literally is.
He's a wide receiver. He should have played. He should have been drafted as a wide receiver, not a quarterback. He's horrible. He's horrible. A.J. Brown made better throws in that game than he did.
Sure. Ryan Tannehill, as a NFL player playing quarterback, the first play of the game, after that pick, it kind of just seemed like he got very
rattled.
Trey Hendrickson, that guy. Listen, New Orleans let him go. They couldn't re-sign everybody. He is going to be a pass rusher everyone recognizes in the next couple of years.
They already recognize him.
No, I've heard people say it's a fluke, but he's not really that good.
A fluke? 12 games of sack streak is more than a fluke.
No, I knew Trey Hendrickson going to Cincinnati was a big deal when we lost him last year. Trey Hendrickson's amazing. I personally think the Saints should have kept him and traded like Cameron Jordan or something like that, but whatever.
Yeah, he really never got a chance. He was mostly, a third pass rusher for them?
I think he played the opposite
I
side
think the
most of the time.
Bengals would have been happy with Hendrickson or keeping Carl Lawson. They decided to go with Hendrickson, and they
the
were
money
right.
worked- well,
Carl
they were
Lawson
right.
got hurt.
Well,
He got
not-
hurt.
right.
Because I think Carl Lawson would have had a great
better than
season with the
Well,
Jets.
he
I don't know
would be.
about that. How could you say
He will
that?
be. I mean, Trey Hendrickson's going to, by the end of his career, surpass Carl Lawson.
Well, we don't know what Carl Lawson was going to be this year with the Jets.
Right, but
we don't know.
Hold on, but all I'm saying is, in 3-4 years, Bengals fans are going to be like, he's better than Carl Lawson.
Okay, whatever. That's your opinion.
No, I know. That's why I said it. But and Zach Taylor, listen, I shit on Zach Taylor for about 18 months.
I did so.
That guy is what everyone says Matt LaFleur is, or what Sean McVay is. That guy knows how to build an offense, and he knows how to run.
He's been in the league for a long time. He was coaching Boomer Esiason.
I'm just saying, he for a young guy.
I don't know about young. I mean, he's
for an NFL.
He's a veteran coach.
I know, but he's a young guy.
All right, fine.
Compared to the rest of the coaches.
If 46, 47 years old is young, I mean, I guess it's young.
It's old for today's NFL. There's like so many young coaches now.
I mean, Robert Saleh's 40, 41.
Tom Brady was the older than all the starting NFC coaches at the start of last round.
I mean,
except for Arians.
What's his name again on the Rams? McVay. He's like, I think he just turned 30.
Yeah, 37 or something like that.
No,
yeah.
I think 35 or 36. He got the job at 30 with the Rams. I mean, that's young. I mean, so
he was younger than half his roster.
But honestly, Jeff, what were your thoughts with the Bengals game? What stood out to you more than anything of the game besides 2 players that we mentioned?
That the Bengals front office is a joke, an absolute joke. That they're the worst front office I've ever seen. The Bengals had a choice in last year's draft, and I realized Errol's going to go crazy, but they made the wrong choice. they shouldn't have taken Jamar Chase. How is it possible you give up 10 sacks in a divisional game? They have given Joe Burrow nothing to work with. That offensive line is atrocious. And great, Jamar Chase is wonderful, and it turned out to be a good draft pick. But at what price? They're going to get that kid killed.
And CJ asked me to ask you, Jeff, what his thoughts on Mac Jones. Does he think that he can rise to the level of Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes?
Probably not.
There you go.
Probably not. I would say this about Mac Jones. All right, and I'm only making this comparison because it's the Patriots with Belichick. I'm not saying he's the next Tom Brady, but he's ahead of Tom Brady at the same point. Tom Brady rode the bench his whole first year, and they both had limited playbooks, and we'll have to see what happens with those guys going forward. Do I think Mac is going to get better? Yes.
Oh, of course he is.
And anything is going to be better than the limited stuff we saw from him this year. But do I think he's going to be Josh Allen? Dude, Josh Allen's special.
Yeah.
That's just...
And when Josh Allen came to the league, everybody said his throwing motion was not going to work. Dable really helped him change his throwing motion. It took a long time for Josh Allen. And the same thing with a lot of these. We don't know what these quarterbacks are going to transition into. And usually you have to wait 3 to 4 years to understand who they are as quarterback. We talk about Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to be special. I really do. I think he could be special. I think Zach Wilson in the second half of the season, he looked like he could be special too. And then obviously we know about the guy from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now that Byron Leftwich is over there, which you were right, Jeff. I said it in the beginning of the show. You were dead on where the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to go with their head coach. I mean,
also dead on with the Giants with the Bills, John Shane, and it looks like Daboll's going to be.
Daboll's going to get the coach.
There's another rumor though that just came out that the Dolphins are pushing hard for him now.
They're not getting him. I've heard everything that they're right now negotiating a deal with Daboll. So I believe
Daboll's going to the Giants.
Yeah, I believe by Friday, Daboll will be announced that he's going to be the next Giants head coach, and then they're going to introduce him on Monday or Tuesday. That's what I think the Giants are going to do. And I think that's a best move. You're keeping Daniel Jones. Everything that I've read, what Shane has said, he's keeping Daniel. And that's a good move for him. Because I think why are you going to go out there and go trade away draft picks and draft stock to bring a Deshaun Watson or bring in a Russell Wilson when you have a quarterback that has all the tangibles that you can succeed with? And look what Daboll did with Josh Allen. Josh Allen, when he came into the league, he had a strong arm, not accurate, and he was more looked at as a big mobile quarterback. That's what they thought of him when he came into the league.
I mean,
Daniel Jones.
You really look at Daniel Jones
and Josh Allen.
I don't think it's a huge difference.
There really isn't a huge difference.
No,
they are the same guy because if you look,
so except the arm strength. That's
it. Size. Daniel Jones ain't going to be able to take the
Daniel Jones is almost 6'4".
But he's not as big as
Josh Allen.
But Josh Allen
came
running
into
back.
First of all,
quarterback.
When Josh Allen came into the league, he was thin.
And so is Daniel Jones.
He was thin. He was 215 pounds, 220 pounds.
But
Josh
Daniel
Allen
Jones
will
is
take
a
the
running
beating.
back.
Daniel Jones, I don't think is going to be able to. Daniel Jones already starting to get beat up.
That's because your offensive line stinks.
I get it. I understand. But this is what Giants fans have been saying
honestly
for
think
8 years.
Daniel Jones,
the offensive line.
Daniel Jones has better I think he's better on his feet, moving inside out of the pocket than Josh Allen.
Daniel Jones is 100 times faster than Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's fine. But guess what? You don't sign a quarterback because they're faster than somebody.
No, he's got a good arm too.
A lot of people did though, right? Lamar Jackson.
And how's that working out in Baltimore?
He won an MVP.
He won an MVP. That's great for Lamar Jackson.
And this is the first year they didn't make the playoffs. This is the first year they didn't make the playoffs.
Okay,
but it's not.
What has that brought the Ravens? Because guess what? Eventually, the league catches up to you speed-wise. We've seen it a million times. When the league figures him out, he can't throw the football.
Okay, Jeff, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what Daniel Jones is, it's not his fault he's getting killed. He's got all the tools to be good. He's just getting no help. You know, his rookie year, he was supposed to have help. Saquon Barkley got hurt. Is that Daniel Jones's fault?
Nope.
You know, I mean, like, you give the kid a chance. Because honestly, Daniel Jones has all the same tools that Josh Allen does.
I agree with you.
And he's not being utilized correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen that Daboll can bring it out in Josh Allen. Because if you remember when Josh Allen got drafted out of Wyoming, he was a project. And we're going to have to work on this. We're going to have to work on that. Right. And he was developed into something really, really good now. And that's what he can do with Daniel Jones, because, I mean, let's face it, that coaching staff gave him no help.
None help. No help. And here's the thing. I do believe Daniel Jones, and I know a lot of Giant fans don't like Daniel Jones, but there were certain games that really stood out to me what Daniel Jones could do on the field. He can make every single throw. He is accurate. He could do the over the shoulder.
Just go back to that Thursday night game against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
They win that game if Darius Slayton could catch it, because Daniel Jones threw a 50-yard touchdown.
Sterling Shepard dropped the ball too in that game.
Right? Kenny Golladay dropped a slant for a touchdown in that game.
Please.
Right? Daniel Jones has been making the throws. He needs a little bit of help.
And I think with Dable coming in, I think Dable can absolutely clean up the mess.
He's got 1 year.
What? Who has
Daniel
1 year?
Jones?
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. Not that.
If they don't see significant
progress, for what Shane said at his press conference, and what he said is that he is going to build this offensive roster through Daniel Jones. That's what he said.
It's not even what Shane said. Go and look at what the Mara family said about him. Go read those quotes.
That's because he's a Manning boy. Did
you ever hear? You heard it. I don't know if I talked to you about it. Did you hear what Kyle Rudolph said about him?
What did Kyle Rudolph say?
Kyle Rudolph said that he's been in a league. He's been an all-pro player and a Pro Bowl tight end in this league. Do you know that Kyle Rudolph says he's the best quarterback he's ever played with?
I mean, the quarterback I know he played with was Kirk Cousins. So
that's not true. He played with Brett Favre at one point. Brett Favre was throwing to him. It doesn't matter. Brett Favre took them all the way to the NFC title game.
He did. He was also 43 years old.
That's fine. He has said that Daniel Jones has the most talent that he's ever played with on the field. And when you hear that from Kyle, and he wasn't, excuse my language, bullshitting anybody, because he was on WFAN, and when he was, I think it was the Tiki and what's that other show?
Yeah, Tierney.
It was Tierney and Tiki. Yeah. When they asked him the question, who's the best quarterback you've ever played with? Straight up, hands down. He says Daniel Jones has more talent than any quarterback he's ever played with. So when you're hearing that from an all-pro tight end that's been in the league for 12 years and has been a consistent tight end, that says a lot about this kid. Build the offensive line around him and give him players. Give him playmakers. Tony is a star. He's got to stay on the field. You need a star wide receiver that's going to help out in the open field so it can create separation, something they haven't had in a very long time.
I agree with you. But here's the thing, right? All these drafting quarterbacks have the potential to be as good as everyone says they can be. That's why they get drafted in the first round, the top 7, the number 1 overall pick. Jamarcus Russell had one of the greatest arms we've ever seen. But he went to the Oakland Raiders, and they were a dumpster fire at that time. And he didn't want to play.
That's not what happened. And I'll tell you,
no,
I watched the documentary.
He was lazy. He was out of shape. Well, I understand
lazy.
all that.
That was it.
But the organization let him. All right.
They gave him a $55 million contract, almost $45 million guaranteed. Right. He was a party animal. He was going out and partying every single night.
Got it. But now,
do you not know the story about the playbook with Jamarcus Russell?
You couldn't understand it. I'm not, but I'm saying talent-wise, because that's what everyone's saying right now, right? Jamarcus Russell was one of the greatest arm talents this league's at. Ryan Leaf, another guy. Busts
a drug addict
because they don't have potential. They're busts because the system fit. Josh Rosen, perfect example. Josh Rosen has all the tools of the chamber, and yet cannot get on a football field to save his life. So don't tell me Daniel Jones. I know Daniel Jones has potential. I know Daniel Jones can start in the NFL. But Daniel Jones...
You're a Giant fan. You just don't like him.
No, it has nothing to do with like and dislike. We know that Daniel Jones is getting killed back there. But guess what? Daniel Jones, I hate to say this, but if everyone was shitting on Eli for, he's the worst quarterback in the NFL, and the offensive line was
I told Giant fans when he retires, they're going to regret it.
Right.
I said it.
But now... Dave Gettleman and the lack of building that O-line, the lack of building a defense that can carry your offense, the lack of leadership. If Daniel Jones stepped up as a leader,
if Daniel Jones was in the Arizona Cardinals, he would have played better than Kyler Murray in that game.
Oh, don't get
he would have played better. He would have been better than Kyler Murray in that game. Because Kyler Murray, let's be honest,
Kyler Murray's going to start playing baseball.
No, he's not. I love Kyler Murray. I think he's one of my favorite players in the league. Love the way he plays. He's the determination and what he's done so far at his size in the league. when he played in that playoff game, Arizona, and expected to compete with the LA Rams, he completely, I don't know where his head wasn't in the game.
He quit.
He didn't quit. He
panicked. No, I don't think he quit. He panicked.
He panicked. And I think Daniel Jones playing at that same position and that same game, I think Daniel Jones would have given him a better chance to win that game. Daniel Jones' intangibles, his first of all, throwing the ball, he's got a tremendous amount of size behind the pocket. You might make it seem like he's standing, whatever. He's tall. He's almost 6'4". He's got length. He can run the ball a lot better than you.
No, I didn't say he can't run. I know he can run.
He can run the ball very well, and he's an accurate thrower. He's a very accurate thrower. He just doesn't have the arm strength like Josh Allen. But who does? Patrick Mahomes? Zach Wilson?
He does have good arm strength. He does have good arm strength, though. And not for nothing, Tyler and Speedy are both Giants fans.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the honest question, right? Because I think the answer would be 2 or 3 or 4 more, right? But we'll see what you said. How many more games would the Giants have won if the Giants receivers would have just cut their drops in half?
3, 4?
I would say 2, just because they got blown out a lot too.
Right, but they would. But think about that. The 2 or 3 more wins in the NFL is an enormous amount of wins.
Yeah, all right.
Last year, the Patriots. Everyone was like, "Oh, Patriots stink." They were 9-7. Everyone this year was like, "Oh, the Patriots are pretty good." They only won 10 games, and that's with an extra game. So think about the narrative. 3 more wins makes the difference in that narrative.
Definitely the Washington
Right?
game you were saying. I would say the Falcons game too, because that was a low scoring game and that was so sloppy for a while. So yeah, they probably win that one too.
He could have beaten the Saints too.
They beat the Saints.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. If he just even remotely got a little bit of help where he just cut their drops in half, I think your view on Daniel Jones would be vastly different.
I mean, so the play that he made, the catch, that one-handed catch that he
that was
made.
The Panthers game. That was a spark of that game. There was 3-3, and then all of a sudden the Giants got all the momentum after that.
I mean,
not for nothing. I realize he gets a lot of shit for it, right? Because it's like a meme and everyone laughs at him. It's funny, but until he tripped and fell at the 10 or whatever he fell at, that run by Daniel Jones, that was one of the fastest runs in NFL history by a quarterback. That was unreal speed that he showed to get by everybody. That was an amazing play.
Ben says Nick Foles and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount of Super Bowl victories, Super Bowl MVPs, and NFC championships. Snug says 100% Titans lost that game. Tannehill forcing the ball with 20 seconds left in the game was ridiculous. And is Daniel Jones better than Dak Prescott? Nah, that's crazy talk.
No, first of all, not right now, but can Daniel Jones be as good as Dak Prescott? Absolutely.
But you want to know why I would take Dak over Daniel Jones? No reason else.
You don't know what Daniel Jones is.
That's fine. They're both inconsistent, right?
Well, Dak has better weapons. If Daniel Jones had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup, do you think he'd be as bad as he is?
No,
in the
he would
open
probably
field?
give you Dak-like numbers, but I would still take Dak. You know why?
Why?
Dak's a leader. The Giants don't have a leader on this team. There's none. There's zero.
But that's not true. If you listen to Kyle Rudolph.
You can say that he's a leader, but he's really not a leader. His best wide receiver hates his guts, and that's why they're trading the best wide receiver.
Amari Cooper. I've heard that too. Him and Amari Cooper are not getting along. And that's why they're
trading. That's complete BS. They're keeping Amari Cooper.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They can't afford him.
I'm just telling you what the article said. That it's
all right.
That they're saying the Cowboys, they're not getting rid of him.
I'm telling you right now, there's no way they're going to be able to keep Lawrence, Amari Cooper, and especially with Zeke's contract, and nobody's going to take it. Everybody keeps saying trade Zeke, trade Zeke. Nobody's taking that contract. If they drop that contract and they release him, what is that on the cap? I think it's like 14, 15 million. There's no way they're not doing that. So they're gonna have to keep that.
They might trade DeMarcus Lawrence because Leighton Vander Esch.
No, DeMarcus Lawrence they're gonna drop. They're gonna drop him. They're gonna release him.
No, you gotta trade a pass rusher.
You're not
let him walk.
You're not gonna get anything for him.
A 4th round pick is better than nothing.
I don't even know if you're gonna get a 4th for him. I mean, how old is DeMarcus Lawrence? I mean,
yeah, 28,
29.
Yeah,
He's 28.
Yeah, he was the 2014 draft. He's
28, 29, and for a pass rusher, you're on the tail end. You're almost at the tail end of your career right there.
No, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you, but cutting him is dumb. Even if you get a 5th or a 6th, get something back. Cutting him doesn't really do anything because you've still got a cap hit.
I think,
but a lot of people aren't willing. This is just the position a lot of teams are in. where 5th and 6th round picks can be valuable because they only cost $500,000 against your salary cap. And for a team that might be willing to trade for him, that might be up against the cap, they're not going to be willing to take on that salary. That's why you might not be able to get anything for him.
Right. That's what I think too. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would depend on the team. I don't have
DeMarcus
the cap
Lawrence
sitting in front of me.
But DeMarcus Lawrence isn't performing to that contract though. So why would any team want to take on that contract when I can take a chance a guy for $500,000 can do the job just as good as he will?
Absolutely.
The unfair truth, he's a name.
He's a name. He was a name 2 years ago.
Cares
Nobody
about
cares.
names. That's why you see names get dumped every year. Go back, the Buccaneers. Errol called me crazy. He's like, there's no way that happens. Remember what I told you? Oh, the Buccaneers are going to tell Gerald McCoy, see you later. And you're like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a name. Who cares? Out the door.
Yeah, but even Jerel McCoy, he was like 32, 33 when they did that. Now Lawrence is a 28-year-old player, but he's lost it. McCoy was still at the top of his game when he went over there to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You see plenty of dudes that are names not be able to even get on teams. What was Ocho Cinco at the end of his career? Just a name. No one cares about a name.
Yep.
No one cares.
I understand it's going to be hard to trade him. As a Cowboy, I explore all those options before I come.
They will, but I don't think they're going to get much for him, even if they trade him. Well, you're going to get a 6th-round draft pick? Go ahead. Get a 6th-round draft pick for him. Nobody's taking that contract. Nobody.
The other problem, too, is he's kind of a one-dimensional player, too. It's not like he has balance.
Somebody like the Jets. Somebody like the Jets, if he becomes available, he would be something, because that's what the Jets need. They need outside pass rushers.
There you go.
If he becomes but the Jets aren't trading.
But the Jets
picks.
are not going to trade picks.
Joe Douglas will not do
contract.
that.
The Jets will take him on if he gets cut by the Cowboys or something like that, because they need a speed rusher.
Yes.
A team that'll need a speed rusher that maybe is that away and can afford it.
How many top 100 picks do you have? 7?
They're not trading any of them. Not to the Cowboys.
I get that. But you have like 12 picks in this year's draft.
No,
right?
they don't. They have 9.
Okay.
They have 9.
And also the way Joe Douglas operates, he's not. They're going to make if he's going to make a trade like that, they're going to make the Cowboys take on at least half of the contract.
Absolutely.
I mean, the problem is, Tyler, you need to look at it as if you were a GM of a team. If you're the GM of a team,
well, right now,
are you trading for him knowing that his contract far exceeds his value? What would you trade for him?
I'm not. I understand why you guys say I'm not personally trading for him, but as the Cowboy GM, I'm not just cutting him without trying to make sure nobody in the league wants him for a 6th or 5th round pick. That's all I'm saying.
And right now, we don't know if that team's
option,
there.
Fine.
Because teams are trying to manage their cap as it is right now. There's so many teams that are going into this offseason over the cap that has to cut the players that they need. The teams that need edge rushers, we kind of can speculate on contending teams that need edge rushers, the Colts, the Bills, teams like that. But those teams have to have the right cap situations. Then you need an offer where they need to either be desperate enough to trade that level of a draft pick or have the Cowboys take on half the salary cap. And both those organizations, I don't think are going to be like that.
And it's not just the salary cap room this year too, because you got to consider he's got like 3 more years left on that deal. So you need to like take into account, I'm going to bring in a guy in that I don't even know if he fits our system or not. And I'm still going to make a 3-year commitment at whatever that number is. That's insane. Who would do that?
And CJ says JD is not trading any picks, period. If they do, it's for a QB needy team that has a hard-on for Matt Corral. That's about it. That's what he's saying. And to me, I don't think that, first of all, I don't think the Jets, the only way the Jets are trading the 10th pick, which I'm hearing they will trade down for that pick, is if they get, it's with Philadelphia or a team like that. Philly's going to give you 1 or 2 first round, or they'll give the 15th pick in their 2nd round pick to move up over there. That's about it. There's no way the Jets are going to just give away picks, especially what they did with Flacco. And I'll say this, that was one of the worst moves that JD has made when it comes to the draft. I know it was only a 5th round pick, but why would you give a 5th round pick for Joe Flacco when all you had to do the year before that was re-sign him in the offseason? It made no sense why they did that. And they gave up a 5th round pick, even though they didn't need that 5th round pick with the amount of picks that they have top heavy in this year's draft. But again, we're not talking about, we'll talk about that in the offseason. We'll talk about that in the offseason. We're talking about, and we have Jerel Worthy coming on, and we're going to talk about the Packers because he's a former Packer, and he really grew up as a Packer player. So we'll get
to ask him about that terrific performance Saturday night.
We will, and we're going to get it. And after we get off with Jerel, we're going to go through every single game because we're still going to have to go through the Packers game. We're still going to go through the Buccaneers game. And we're going to go through the Buffalo-Kansas City, which I believe was the best game of the weekend and one of the greatest games I've ever seen offensively from a quarterback. And I'll tell you this, Buffalo really screwed up at the end of the fourth quarter with 13 seconds left, and I'm going to explain why they screwed up. Well, I understand, obviously, McDermott is not put in that position with 13 seconds left. You're up by 3, and you sit there and you say, well, what should I do to keep Pat Mahomes and keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes? But, when you sit down and you think about what he could have done to shave at least 4 seconds off the clock, there are many ways he could have done it. And I think now after this, what happened with McDermott in this game, a lot of teams are going to look at that game and then really start to look at, if I'm put in that position with 15, 16 seconds left of the game, what do I have to do to keep the ball out of the great quarterback's hand where all he has to do is put the ball, make 2 plays, put 2 plays together and get right on the 40-yard line where you kick a 50-yard field goal. So we will get into that. And there's a couple of things that I was thinking of over the weekend, and I kind of put it together. And to me, that was the game. Because as soon as whoever won that coin toss, I thought was going to win the game. And as soon as he called tails, as soon as Allen called tails, I knew they were losing that game. Because as soon as I knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to I knew he was going to take the ball down the field the way the game was going. So, and Buffalo's defense was tired. Kansas City's defense got tired after they lost, what's his name again, the Honey Badger, at the end of the third quarter. They weren't the same defense.
They lost. No, that's not even true. They lost Honey Badger the first series of the game.
Was it the first series?
Yeah. It was the first series.
Didn't he come back into the game?
I don't think
so.
No, he wasn't concussion.
He got the knee. He got the knee to the back of the head, and he was done. They won that game with Honey Badger playing 2 plays.
In the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs looked tired. They did. Their defense looked really, really tired. Really, with the last 6 minutes of the game, Josh Allen running those plays, and even with how many fourth and 11s, 4th and 10s did we see Josh Allen, complete? It was sensational. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Jeff, I want you to call back because we're going to go into the other games with you, and I'd like you to be a part of it.
Sure, I will definitely do that. Before I go, a little piece of trivia for you, Errol, see if you know the answer. Any of you guys. Only 2 times in NFL history has a team in the playoffs taken the lead with less than 20 seconds and lost. The Bills were one to the Chiefs on Sunday night. Do you know the other one?
Bills.
Is it recent or is it like 40 years ago?
It's super famous, and it's not 40 years ago. It's within the last 20.
Last 20.
I think it's within the last
Bills
20.
the Music City Miracle.
The Music City Miracle, Speedy. There you go. The Bills blow it again with under 20 seconds. This franchise is cursed. What a dumpster fire they are.
Jeff, we'll talk to you in a little while. Jeff from Tampa. We'll get him on again because our guest should be joining us any minute. But to finish up with the Bengals, and I want everybody to stay on because there's a lot to talk about with these games. And a lot of this show is going to be based on the divisional games. And we will get at the end of the show, we will get into the whole David Ortiz thing because I got my own thoughts to it and how the NFL could even do one for one and not for the other. So
I know you hate the NFL right now.
The MLB. I don't like Rob Manfred's the worst commissioner in professional sports. And he should, in 2024, if Theo Epstein doesn't take the job for him, I think the NFL and the owners are a bunch of idiots. Okay, because there shouldn't be no reason why Rob Manfred should keep that job. As stupid right now, this strike is they haven't even. I mean, they're in conversation right now. They are talking, but it's not going anywhere. It's not even close, and we're already almost in February. I'm going to say this: I don't think there's a negotiating deal until April. Okay, so that means you're going to miss. They're probably only going to play 100 games this year. That's what I'm predicting. There's no way they're playing 162 games this year. Not the way this is moving and the pace it's moving. That has a lot to do with Rob Manfred and his stupidity with the way he wants to change, laws and rules in the major leagues. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy here on the Sports Loudmouths.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we are the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Jerel Marks. My co-host, Speedy. I'm wearing dirty underwear, Petey. And Tyler, a.k.a. I've Got a Headache, Harrison. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. Download our app by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Check out our website by going to www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our stories, our interns, our great stories, our written stories. By the way, check out my Giant story, which I thought was very, very funny about the Grinch that stole Christmas. It's really, really funny. So check it out. We have great shows around the country. A Weapons Hot, a Jet show. Ryan Hickey show on the mornings is fantastic on, I think, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Thursday.
I'm sorry, Mondays and Thursdays. It's always switched around, but
yeah.
And all the other shows on our network. Great talent on our network. But as everybody knows, we were getting this guy on the show. Very happy to have him. We are now talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy. What's going on, Jerel?
Man, what's going on, guys? I'm so excited to be on the show tonight. You guys are rocking right now, so I'm going to try to add a little bit of flavor, man. I'm excited to be here.
I like flavor. You know what I mean? It depends. It better not be vanilla and plain. It's got to be some kind of chocolate or, some cookies and cream or something. What are you clapping about? What are you?
No, I'm not clapping. I'm saying
what's the time?
We're going to ignore the Green Bay Packer hoodie that he's got on.
Why?
Man.
I thought we were a non-biased party here.
Why? He played for the Packers. What's wrong with that?
I mean, I feel like he's going to get very upset.
You see, he's wearing a Michigan State hat too.
I got a few things here. Yeah, I got to look. I got. You see my Bills back there too. I know you see it right there. Look. So,
he's got all his teams covered.
Nah, we're out here. We're out here, man.
Well, you had a fantastic career. You were in the league quite a few years. You played for the Green Bay Packers, the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then at the end, you play for the Orlando Apollos. So
how crazy is that?
So you've been in it. You played a long time. You were a second round draft pick in 2012. Pick 51. It's a very interesting. You had a very interesting career. Before we get into your career, tell the fans what you've been doing since your career has been over.
Man, I've been doing a plethora of things. I'm in the community now. I still compete at the highest level. I've got a 7-on-7 team that competes nationally. Like, we're pretty damn good. So we're pretty excited about that. It's called Metro7 GA. So I'm based outside of Atlanta. There's a lot of cream of the crop as far as football and recruiting is concerned. So I'm very excited about that. I also work for an engineering company now, man. So I'm kind of competing in a whole different realm, having jobs and pursuing things with my mind more so than with my body now. So I'm in the community, man. I'm engaging, and I'm very excited about where we are right now.
So why don't we get into the Green Bay Packers this weekend? Before we get into anything, and I know you're a Green Bay guy. That's really where your career started.
Yes, sir.
And they're the ones that drafted you. So why don't we get into the Green Bay Packers? And a lot of people throughout social media after the game ended, they were attacking Aaron Rodgers. They were blaming everything on Aaron Rodgers. Now, it was before the game started, they said the wind chill took it all the way to -5, -6. It started snowing in the third quarter, and it didn't stop. It was very slippery. The ground was hard, and it's not easy to play in that weather. As you know, you played over there. It's one of the coldest places to play, and when it's snowing and it's that cold, you might as well just sit there and hopefully you're going to run the ball very well, which the Packers didn't do very well, or either did San Francisco. So watching the game, what stood out of the game, and do you blame Aaron Rodgers for that particular game?
I don't want to necessarily blame him to an extent. I just think for the decision making, when I went back and looked at his statistics, he was 20 for 29, 225, no tugs, no picks, but when I looked at his number of targets and spread out amongst his players, 20 of those 20, I think 21 of those 29 attempts were targeted either between Aaron Jones or Devontae Adams. And the most targeted person after that was Randall Cobb at only 1 target. And so, like, when you talk about spreading the ball around, you talk about the offense moving. When I'm used to seeing the Green Bay Packers moving at a high level, it's Randall Cobb's involved. You got Valdez Scanley involved. You've got Tongan involved. You have A.J. Dillon involved. So when their offense is at a very high level, man, it's by committee. It's never necessarily the 1 or 2 guys. I just think that, in close games like that, man, Aaron Rodgers has to find a way to go ahead to take control. As you've seen against Tom Brady, against the Rams. I mean, at some point, Tom says, "Hey, I gotta sling it. I gotta find a way to get in the end zone. I've got to find a way to put my team in contention." And I just think that A-Rod, in that type of situation, man, especially against the 49ers with everything that's been going on this season, a team that's been reeling and kind of limped into the playoffs, I would have loved to see the Packers come out and dominate that game, man. Unfortunately, we didn't get it done.
So you played with the Packers for 3 years, and they actually have one of the more unique team cultures. They have a fan-owned team that has different stockholders within fans.
I own a stock. I own 2 of them.
Yes, sir.
There you go. So also you have all these meet and greets, all the players. You have all these different radio things that the players did there. That's very different than a lot of other teams have. So what was that team culture really like, and also the fan culture across Green Bay and the state of Wisconsin really as a whole?
Man, it was awesome, bro. I mean, coming from the Big Ten, we actually had bad blood because we go against Wisconsin often, and we end up playing them in the Big Ten championship. Then Green Bay drafts me that year. So a lot of the fan base already knew who I was coming from the collegiate level. But realistically, man, when you become a Packer, you become a part of that organization at any level, at any capacity. I mean, they're like family. So, I've got friends that are not even in the football organization in Green Bay that I still keep in contact with. Guys that are in the local fire department, police officers and things of that nature, just because, you could walk into your local grocery store and everybody was really respectful. Like, even though you're a star, everybody was pretty cool about, letting you go about your way and your business. The only 2 people I know that couldn't go out in public was Clay and Aaron. They were the only ones that couldn't necessarily go out in public without, the crowd trying to maul them. I remember catching A-Rod late night, right before like a Best Buy was about to close, with the James Bond hat on. He's got the shades on. I'm like, it's 9:30 at night, dude. We know it's you. But I mean, we had some fun, man, up there, dog. But from Call of Duty late night, because obviously it's not a lot of stuff to do. So we had a lot of team camaraderie, man. And that's what made us a really close-knit team. And you're able to win games when you got a lot of trust amongst your team.
Well, Mr. Worthy, how are you? I was kidding about this sort of thing before. But now I'm just going to ask this question because I feel like it needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. There are not a lot of, but you have this kind of stigma that follows A-Rod or Aaron Rodgers around, as you like to call him. And is it true? Like, why are people so easy to blame Aaron Rodgers for not being a good teammate, not being a good leader? You were first-handly there. Yeah. Was Aaron Rodgers a good leader? Was he a good teammate?
Oh yeah, nah, he's really one of the coolest guys you would want to play with. I mean, because he knows the game and he knows it doesn't have to be as stressful as it is. He plays the game at such a high level that that there's things that you would have to go through and game plan with other teams that you might not necessarily have to do that with A-Rod, just because he's always a step ahead. I remember when he first got hurt with his collarbone, he actually kind of drove a little bit of a stake between the team, because management wasn't allowing him to play on Sunday, but he was torching us in practice. And so, for 3-4 weeks, bro, while we're waiting on this collarbone to heal, he's gutting us in practice, killing all of our all of our momentum going into Sunday, man. Just because it's hard to face a guy that can drop it into a bucket and whenever he wants to. And at the end of the day, man, A-Rod is a hell of a player, hell of a teammate. He's got that Cali swag, and a lot of people don't know how to get with that, but he's really a cool, like the other side of the pillar.
We are talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy. Now, Jerel, just like Tyler was saying, everybody keeps taking shots at Aaron Rodgers, and he's the headline top story for the Packers. But there is a story coming out, over the last couple of weeks and couple of months that Davante Adams might want out, and that before the season even started, there were stories coming out from Las Vegas that he has a good relationship with Derek Carr, and that could be a place that he might want to end up with over there. But even with Aaron Rodgers leaving, and Aaron Rodgers coming out the other day saying that he is not going to make a decision on what he is doing, either leaving or retiring, until obviously the waiving part of the season. When the season's over, I think 2-3 weeks after waive players. Are you seeing that this team is like, when you look at Aaron Rodgers and you looking at Davante Adams, it's a two-man tree, and that if Davante Adams wants out, Aaron Rodgers wants out, or it's a two-man process that if you want Aaron Rodgers, you got to go after Davante Adams?
Oh, absolutely. I think, they're definitely a package deal. When you're talking about the type of success that Davante Adams has had, and I mean, right now, these guys are like Steph Curry and Clay. I mean, they're tied at the hip when it comes to the stats and the amount of explosive plays that they come up with on, each and every Sunday. How effortless it is for A-Rod to put the ball wherever he wants. And realistically, like building that type of talent, that type of chemistry, even though you can go to another great quarterback is like Derek Carr. I mean, these guys haven't played with each other since college. So when you're talking about building that type of chemistry back up, I mean, you gotta talk about, Davante when you're talking about A-Rod, and especially knowing the fact that A-Rod wants to win so bad and don't want to be in the Peyton Manning discussion, or only kind of having one or not being able to lead a great team to another championship. A-Rod is going to want to have his ring man right next to him. So I definitely think you would put them both in the same category.
So a lot has been made of the fact that because the Packers they don't have a real owner, they haven't been a team that spends a lot of money in free agency. Then they start to do it for the last 3 or 4 years. Do you think that's something that has driven a lot of outside players, like top outside players, away from wanting to join the Packers the same way you have seen them join the Rams recently and the Buccaneers? And could that be something that has to change if they want to have any shot at maybe keeping Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams?
Yeah, I think for me, it's got to continuously start with the O-line. I think, anytime where you see A-Rod go down, it's been a difficult time for the offensive line. So, I think at the end of the day, if you have opportunities to build that out, Batinari's been in and out the lineup. He's kind of been up and down, but they've found a replacement that's been able to fill his void. I mean, now obviously it's not, Bakhtiari, but when you're talking about, A-Rod being protected, man, that's where you have to start first. And then realistically, man, they need another athletic tight end that's going to be able to open up those seam routes. When A-Rod had that comfort level with Jermichael Finley and Corliss and those guys, running those seam routes, the offense was able to open up in a totally different way than we're seeing today. And so I just think at the end of the day, man, you got to start with O-line. You got to start with easy pass catching tight ends for this guy. And I think, realistically, man, you got to ask A-Rod who he wants to play with. I mean, you've never sit here. No one's ever been at the table and say, hey, man, these top receivers are out here on the market. Do you have any great relationships with these guys? How do you feel about it? I'm sure A-Rod will tell you, shoot, I would love to play with this guy here, love to play with that guy there. And essentially, when you start to see the top receivers get traded for really like, nickels and pennies, man, it definitely would make you upset if you're a high profile quarterback wanting to find good talent.
We'd be amiss if we didn't know. I know that you obviously are a head coach down there in Georgia.
Yes,
the
sir.
Metro7 football team. You look like you're about to have a very long night of studying film.
Dude, I'm locked in, man. You see my whiteboard behind me, man. I'm locked in.
I do. One for the skipper. I understand. I'm with you.
Yes, sir.
So, being a former player, and we're grown men,
Mhm.
teaching little kids is one of the most patient, testing, hard to do things you can do in life. Anything. You're trying to teach them schemes and formats. What is the biggest challenge you face day in and day out trying to coach these kids?
I think realistically, man, just consistently getting them to believe in themselves. I think for me personally, social media is kind of taking out the joy of a process. Kids see shit and they think they are supposed to have it like right away. They see a process, they see a kid making plays, and they think they're automatically a 4 or 5 star. But a lot of their idols, a lot of the people they looked up to, they don't necessarily understand the long road that it took to become that person. And so I think at the end of the day, shedding light on that and getting kids to really understand that, hey, man, it's consistency every single day in order to become that star on Sunday. So once I get a chance to get kids to buy in and to want to give that effort every single day, coaching them becomes the easiest part, man. Like, they got to have the want to in order for me to break through as far as the mental. So once I get that out the way, man, it's been pretty easy.
We are talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy. Now, Jerel, we've watched. I think this is probably the best divisional weekend we've ever seen when it comes to football. The games
my God.
are so awesome.
Smiled and cried, man.
Absolutely. When you go from top to bottom, from the Bengals in Tennessee to the Packers in San Francisco with the weather that it was, then you have Brady and the Rams and Matthew Stafford's first real run through the playoffs, and then obviously that unbelievable game with Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen that'll always be remembered and it'll always stand out. Was there a game that really stood out to you out of all the rest? Not just the Packers, because I know you're a Packers guy. Was there a game that really stood out from all the rest? And is there a quarterback in the playoffs besides Aaron Rodgers and obviously Tom Brady that really stood out to you where you see not only the future of growth from that quarterback, but really where the league is going to transition to when it comes to that quarterback play?
Oh, well, you would have to start with Joe Burrow first. I think obviously the young gunner out of Cincinnati, man, the one that literally has ice in his veins. Kevin McAllister really be throwing that thing, man. And I'm telling you, dude, I'm just so impressed at his confidence every single week. I mean, he's getting knocked around. I mean, they're getting hits on him, but he's still threading the needle. He still stands in the pocket, and he just finds ways to win. I think Joe Burrow realistically can take the league to a whole nother level. His skill set obviously is not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but he wins fucking games. Like, he wins games, and he wins games at a great amount, man, especially when his team needs him. I would say him first and foremost. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a young quarterback, but realistically, Matt Stafford being out of Detroit and having, the type of coaching that he has around him, you could possibly see him compete up into that 40, 42-year-old range because he's a hell of a quarterback. He's been in a terrible situation, though. When you look at Detroit, man, as a whole, they've essentially put on the shelf 3 or 4 Hall of Famers, man, just because of the way the organization has been ran. So Matt Stafford, I think he's got some resurgence, man. He's got some fresh legs now. Getting those 2 playoff wins, I really think that the Rams have an opportunity to be around for the next 3 or 4 years if he's playing at this type of level.
I want to go back to the Bills because you played with them in a year in 2017. That was a kind of culture-changing year for them. That was right before Josh Allen was drafted, but they make the playoffs. They, like the Bengals this year, ending their playoff win drought. The Bills ended their making the playoff drought, and you were a part of that team. So what were some of those experiences like towards the end of that season and with the Bills fans as a whole, kind of really changing that team culture too?
Well, really, to be honest with you, man, it first started with Sean McDermott. I mean, kudos to Rex Ryan. To be honest with you, I love playing for Rex. He's a hell of a players coach.
Rexy.
Dude, he talks so much stuff, and I enjoy playing with him because that's just the type of player that I am. But when you had Sean McDermott came in to Buffalo, it had a Green Bay type of feel because there was a direct process, and there was an appreciation for every single person in the building, and you saw it kind of come together. What I respect about Sean is that, like, he doesn't necessarily need the best players in order to get the best out of a guy, and he's willing to pour in, especially on the defensive side, to get guys, where they need to be. I mean, he comes off that Andy Reid tree, man. So to be honest with you, he's got the formula in order to keep the Bills around for at least the next decade.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You said earlier engineering. You also are in the field of engineering, correct?
I am right now. Yes, I am, man. So more so on the business development side, and having an opportunity to grow my relationships in that category. For us right now, one of the biggest things and hottest things on the market is really stadium design and construction. So having the opportunity to keep the fan engaged for more than 265 days a year. When you look at, situations like Green Bay, Titletown, you look at, other stadiums in which they have different venues around the stadium, man. It's a really popping market, man. I think, you're going to start to see big entertainment start to surround these stadiums moving forward because it really does drive in a big consumer.
So the reason I brought that up was today Brandon Brooks retired, and it's announced that he's going to go back to school. I don't know if it was law or business school, but he's going to go back to school to get his degree. As a former player, how hard is it to – because most of you guys love the game since you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old.
Absolutely.
How hard is it to go, okay, I have to now find something else to be passionate about? And what is it like deciding whether or not it's time to hang it up?
Sometimes, guys either decide whether that either physically or realistically just come from lack of opportunities. I think for me, I still try to stay in shape. I haven't necessarily formally retired. But I think really more so it just kind of comes down to if the phone calls are coming in. There's a lot of guys that are out on the street that are quality football players that necessarily haven't punched their own ticket as far as retirement. And so that is something that everyone has to deal with in a certain realm. As far as guys that, understand that they physically can play, man, it's really tough, bro, because you will never find another thrill like Sunday. And like being out there on those white lines, and you have the highest, the most premier athletes on earth running around at the highest level, like tackling a Derrick Henry or hitting a Cam Newton or that's what I'm saying. Like these types of specimens. My rookie year was Adrian Peterson's MVP year, so we had an opportunity to play this guy 3 times. We ended up playing him in the wild card as well. So like seeing these types of guys, and this is the norm for you for 7, 8 years in the league. When those types of things kind of disappear, I think the biggest thing is just transitioning over and finding something that gets the hairs on your skin to jump up a little bit, right? Without going to jail, right? Without ended up in a or a
maybe a short stay.
Right. Yeah. So say that one more time.
I said maybe a short stay in jail is okay. Just
like a little overnight in the think tank, little overnighter.
Well, you don't want Adrian Peterson using a switch on you.
Oh.
That's for sure.
No, I'm good on the switch. I'm good. No, and it's been. I mean, the types of memories, man. The shit talking you get. I've had some crazy ass games, and you'll never get memories back like playing with guys like Charles Woodson, Donald Driver, Clay Matthews, all those types of guys that I was brought into in Green Bay. Like when I still share that feeling with people, they are kind of still in disbelief. Like, hey, you played with Charles Woodson, like yeah, man, like this was the OG. So man, it's definitely a great opportunity, a great exposure, man. So that's why we try to do our best to get kids to understand, man, it's a privilege and not a right.
So I read and I've read that you have a podcast, and it's called Cut the Check Podcast, and you do a lot of betting, and it's my partner, my counterpartner from 103.9 FM. He no longer does the show with me. Eric Coleman, ex-NFL player. He does something on MSG right now with a bunch of ex-NFL players. So he's become a betting, I guess, guru.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he always plays the spread what Vegas puts up, and I'm like, dude, how are you a guru when you're doing everything that Vegas tells you? That's not a guru. That's a copycat. So I said, why don't you come and pick a game out that it doesn't make sense, and maybe you show people that you are a guru. But he tells me on social media that he is the guru, and he will beat me any possible time if I made a bet with him in any game in basketball, baseball, hockey, or football, which I think he's out of his mind. That's just my opinion. But what made you decide to start a podcast, and how good are you when it comes to picking from the spread?
Oh man, I've been I'm over 500. I would say that. I think at the end of the day, man, it takes time because obviously the league is a shaky situation. So knowing personnel, knowing the players involved, I think that kind of gives me an advantage and understanding like how the game is being played. And realistically, man, a lot of people want to bet kind of the favorites just because it's an easy thing to do.
Eric.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically for me, I always try to analyze some things because you just never know the emotional state of a team that week. And so you really want to do your due diligence, man, before, taking the over on some things.
I got a question for you. Okay. Because Eric and me, when we were doing a show together, we went back and forth with this particular question. I want to know your honest opinion.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you a basketball fan?
I am. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. So our argument on one show, it was practically the whole show because we went back and forth, and he can't sell me on this. He told me a prime James Harden was better than a prime AI. Do you believe that?
No. Because, man, you got to talk about the way that this man is impacting the game. And I know that James Harden couldn't take Aaron McKee, Derek Coleman, Mutombo, Eric Snow to the finals. I know, especially against a tough Eastern Conference that these guys had to battle against. I'm gonna take AI, man. I mean, what he was able to bring to the table, and yeah, like the game of basketball is played a lot differently.
Jerel, he said I was on drugs, okay? And I said, are we talking about the same Allen Iverson? The same Allen Iverson that made Michael Jordan trip on his own feet? That same AI? Because
crossed him twice.
I don't understand what he was saying. Then he tells me I'm crazy. Yeah. And then we went back and forth. He claims he's a basketball guru and he knows everything he possibly can when it comes to basketball. And then how many times, Speedy, did I catch him in his mistakes that he was mentioning on basketball?
How many times now that James Harden is on the Nets, is he going to even love him more now? because he brings his daughters to the Nets games.
I see that all the time.
Yeah.
He's
you
crazy.
know the follow-up question has to be now.
What is it?
Who's your GOAT?
Who's my GOAT of all time? I mean, well, you got to. It's got to be MJ. It's got to be MJ.
Good.
It's got to be MJ just because of what he represented. 3-3. What is 3-3?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very hard to do that, man. It's very, very, very tough to do that, and to win a championship when you know that the GM is breaking up the team at the end of the year.
Mm.
Like when you think about that, though, the GM tells you day one of training camp, "Hey, this our last ride. Hey, this shit. Hey, I'm closing shop." Like
you gotta listen to tomorrow's show because we're actually gonna have a segment because I was thinking about it over the weekend. If Michael Jordan actually played another year or two with the Bulls, does Phil Jackson leave the Bulls? One, does he go to LA and create another dynamic duo with Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant? And does Shaquille O'Neal decide to leave Orlando to go and play over there with the Lakers if Phil Jackson wasn't there? And we're going to argue that tomorrow because I don't think anything of that happens if Michael Jordan doesn't retire after 98.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. I mean, when you think about, 6 championships at that point, I know if Mike came to Phil, they on the golf course, hey Phil, let's run it back one more time. I know Phil is definitely if there's a for sale sign in his yard, he's gonna pull it out of there because I know for sure at the end of the day, if NJ wants to play, then Phil is gonna want to coach. We talk about, man, think about this. Phil Jackson is coach Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. When you talking about guys that make your job so easy at some point, like you just got to put the piece in the right area.
Great. Now, here's the impromptu question because he's gonna snarl, he's gonna roll his eyes.
Here we go.
I have to ignore him. I have to ask this question now that you've linked those two together.
Yeah.
I say Kobe Bryant is better than LeBron James.
He's out of his mind.
I want to know what you think, and if you think I'm wrong, just be courteous. That's all.
You said you're going with Kobe. I'm gonna go with Kobe. I like Kobe. Because
he likes Kobe. He said
he's going with Kobe.
He's going with Kobe because he likes Kobe.
Let him explain his reasoning here.
I'm one of the biggest Kobe fans. Kobe's like 1A, 1B, like with Mike next to me.
I love him.
I think just everything about Kobe and his whole career and everything he's accomplished, like is monumental. Like when you think about the most dominant player in sports leaves you, and you were still able to win 2 championships without that guy. That says a lot.
He still had the best. Well, hold on 1 second. He had the best big man at the time in the league playing with him when he won those 2 championships.
Powell,
he made Powell better.
But just think about like even an older Shaq will make a Powell quiver. Like, just what he was able to bring to the table. Like, obviously when Powell came, that's when the game of basketball really started to they were really big on those stretch forwards. Like they were really big on those power forwards, Powell, Dirk, KG, Tim. So like, he was in a great era where there was a lot of great basketball going on, but like Kobe had to help groom those guys. Powell wasn't mentally tough before getting with Kobe like that. Bynum wasn't like that either.
Oh,
and they played with Smush Parker. So like, I just think at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with Kobe as far as being the GOAT for sure.
Speedy, you have any questions before we let him go?
Yeah, I was just going to ask because we're on the kind of NBA NFL hybrid. It seems like the NBA kind of started with it with the LeBron, the decision with the Miami Heat, and now it's expanded on other things. Player power in sports has been kind of more of a trend that's even now getting into the NFL now too, where you're seeing a lot of these quarterbacks have say now.
College too.
Yeah, and college as well.
Major in college.
Yeah. So do you think that kind of thing is going to expand to where the NFL, I'm not going to say necessarily becomes like the NBA where it's completely player run, but is not far behind where a lot of these top players are going to have that kind of leverage when it comes to organizational decisions?
I think it's gonna start to shift the more the money starts to go up. Obviously, when you have that big of investment from ownership standpoint, you're gonna give in to what that guy's demands are. Now, obviously, you can't be in a situation like AB and kind of just go off the rails and do some wild shit and just kind of think that you're gonna be reimbursed for that. I think obviously there's gonna be guys handling the situation in the right way. That power move and is definitely needs to become a much bigger thing in the NFL. Just because, I've been in situations in rooms where guys have kind of, had to decide whether or not my job is at stake or, do I kind of take a stance on this or, certain things like that. And the only ones that really feel comfortable about that is guys that are making $250,000 a week or, stuff like that. And, a guy that's kind of on the bubble shouldn't necessarily have to think long and hard about, making the moral choice. In basketball, it's so easy because they're going to pay you the money anyway. Soccer, baseball, they're going to pay you the money anyway. They can see your face. And so I think with the NFL and them the only way the power thing comes around is that the biggest players on the board are making noise. The way A-Rod did it, it just, obviously if you win, all that stuff is okay. But, if you don't, at the end of the day, they call you an asshole, right? And so, he tried to take his power back, and I applaud him for that because I mean, there's so many of them that do tell him to just kind of shut up and play. Hey, you're getting $35 million a year. But football is football. And, we carry with us injuries, memories, and shit way after the game is over with. So you got to take a stance while the time is right.
We are talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive tackle Jerel Worthy. Before we let you go, last question. Your favorite story, somebody telling you a story, or something happens to you on and off the field that you remember as an NFL player, and who was the biggest shit talker you've ever played against on the field?
One of the biggest shit talkers. One of the biggest shit talkers that don't curse is Phillip Rivers. I mean, he doesn't say a curse word and makes you want to just go. Rip his face off. Whoever supports him, face off. He makes you feel bad without even saying any derogatory things or vulgar things to you. It's so disrespectful. I haven't really had a lot of linemen that talk shit, man, because those old linemen, they know they're not most old linemen aren't built to talk shit for a whole period of game, a whole game. You might get one or two plays out of them, but most of them aren't built to go the whole game talking shit. I would say a crazy dude. AJ Hawk was a real crazy dude. Brandon Marshall actually in game mode facing against him. I think he's I think he might be diagnosed part bipolar or something. So in the game, man, he would spaz out, and it would be some of the most funniest moments because obviously he wants the ball, and Jay Cutler wouldn't be throwing in the ball, and he would lose his mind in the middle of the game. So he was a funny opponent to go against. But shit, he earned the ball. He was a 100 catch, 100 reception guy a year, so he's definitely earned the right. But he was a funny dude, man. I can't lie to you. B. Marshall was one of my funniest.
Jay Cutler would be throwing him the ball because he'd be throwing it to your team's secondary.
Now,
man, you talking about? Well, we had a blitz, dog. We had a blitz that the success rate was 88%. Dom Capers was really big on tendencies, dog. And we had this certain blitz that now, mind you, this is not 1 year, dog. This is over a 4 or 5 year span. This one blitz was 88% success rate. I was this is crazy, but it worked every single time. There was nothing Jay could do about it. He never adjusted and got better at it. So we just kept running it.
I never got where so many Packers fans love to slander Dom Capers. I thought he was actually very creative with what he did.
Yeah, now he's like a Harvard guy would say, he wants to know all the statistics, why stuff works, why it doesn't. And you had to know what everyone else was doing. When I got drafted into his playbook, I went from 50, 60 plays at Michigan State to 140. So the defense is definitely complex. And it's supposed to be that way. We're professionals, man. At the end of the day, we're at the highest level. So Dom actually helped propel where I am today. Just because at a young age, man, I was able to learn a lot of things coming into that system. It was very complex.
Now, okay, go ahead. No, I was about to say goodbye, but what were we going to say?
Well, we're asking. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sure you have. You've got plays to draw up yourself now and everything. But we're asking a defensive guy if he doesn't talk shit. I find that to be kind of aloof. You've got sacks in your career. You wouldn't sack somebody and start talking shit. I'm sure you've talked shit.
Oh man, talking big shit. I think I remember. I still had the grass in my helmet when I sacked. Who was that? Texans quarterback. My goodness, he ended up going to Matt Schaub. So I ended up sacking this dude on Monday night, man. And I'm trying to talk shit, and I still got the turf and dirt all in my helmet and face, and And it was a hell of a moment, bro. I talk shit daily. Like, I actually have to get in shape to talk shit on the field. Like, so we're one of those guys on the field, man. I mean, a lot of guys have fun playing with me.
Well, I will say this: your birthday is one day before mine, so
let's go.
Yeah.
Do we hear a party in the works?
Hey, let's go.
Your birthday, I'm a little bit older than you. You're 31. I'm 39.
Hey, well, don't worry about it. We good. Hey,
Tauruses, so we got something in common: our confidence and our ego. I'm just
and your
kidding.
bullshit
Our stubbornness. But we would love to get you on again. We really loved you on everything that we got into, conversation from your podcast, from your background, your history with the Packers, your thoughts of what happened over the weekend. So we would love to get you on again. My producer will reach out to you again.
Maybe April 27th we'll schedule it. It'll be a dual birthday thing.
Why don't you
need him to have a shot?
This is my 40th birthday. Maybe you come out here to New York. I always have a big party.
Right.
This past year, because of whole COVID, we actually rented out a yacht and we had it on the Nautica Mile, and we had we always have a good, and this is my 40th birthday.
He's cheesing. He's coming.
Maybe we'll get you out of here. Maybe you come out here and celebrate my birthday, man.
Absolutely.
Our birthday.
It's our birthday.
Our birthday
too. I think I'm always happy to celebrate my birthday now, being out the league, because I'm always in OTAs during my birthday.
You're a baby compared to me.
Yeah. So I'm always in training camp during my birthday in the spring. So
I only say that though because April 27th, the day before your birthday and 2 days before his, is a Wednesday. So we'll get you back on then.
All right. Hey, I'm with it, man. You guys just keep in touch with me, man. I had a blast, dude. I think this was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I just followed you on Twitter, by the way. Feel free to follow the guy back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now I got you, my friend.
My producer will send you my Twitter. We'll follow each other. We'll definitely stay in tune with one another, and we'll definitely get you on. And maybe you come out here and celebrate my 40th. I would love for you to come out here and have a party with us.
Absolutely, man. Let's get it going, bro. Let's just continue to stay in touch, and let's figure this thing out.
Absolutely. Jerel Worthy, ladies and gentlemen, as we were just talking to, ex-Packer, ex-Bill, ex-Buccaneer, not Tom Brady's Buccaneers, but a Buccaneer.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I was with Fitz, with Jameis. Those were crazy dudes too, though. But
Jameis funny.
What?
Well, just hopefully you don't hang out with him at the supermarket. Okay?
Jameis is a very I will say this about him. He is a very caring person. He's a very caring person. I would say that for sure. Obviously, everyone's different in this world, so everyone's decision making isn't always the best. I would say that too.
He must really like some crab legs if he's going to do something stupid like that.
Nah, that's South Florida, man. That crab boil in South Florida, it get it done.
No wonder he signed with the Saints. That's where all the crab legs and crawfish are.
Hey, look, it's a good food.
Thank you, Jerel.
Man, absolutely, guys. Man, I had a blast.
Absolutely. Jerel Worthy, ladies and gentlemen. Awesome guy. Great personality. And you want to know something? Every NFL ex-player that we have on the show, all of them have different personalities. And either, obviously, we had, Lee Bodden on last week. He was more political and just really straight down to earth. Jerel is more of the happy-go-lucky personality, coach, just outgoing person. So, and I'm not saying Lee Bodden wasn't outgoing, but different personalities. And what do we have tomorrow? We have
Brandon Lloyd.
Brandon Lloyd.
Hey, good player, man.
Absolutely.
Do you have any Brandon Lloyd stories?
No, I don't have any B. Lloyd stories. I don't got any B. Lloyd stories. No, he's a good player, man. I definitely remember, playing against him on the field. He's a good player.
Absolutely, and it's great when we get these different and even ex NFL players. Who do we had on last week? Who's the Vikings?
Pete Bursich,
Bursich, who was on the show last week. He had a different outlook to the game when he played in the early mid '90s when he played the game. So it's a different it really is a different game when you see all these different ex-NFL players or different athletes that we've interviewed and the stories that they have from different players. Like obviously Jerel was talking about Brendan Marshall and his personality. Even Jay Cutler, if he needs to learn how to control his ex-wife and some of the stories that we hear on social media. But nevertheless, I love what Jay Cutler's doing right now, even with the high schools and trying to stand up for rights and what's going on in the world. So as much as people hate people on the field, they're just normal people that are, had the opportunity to play professional sport and provide for their families. So Jerel, thank you, man.
Man, thank you guys. Anytime again, man. Good luck moving forward, guys. And I look forward to meeting you guys again.
Absolutely. Jerel Worthy. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get more into the divisional games. And let's be honest, okay, with this whole baseball Hall of Fame, is David Ortiz really the one out of all the guys, the Roger Clemens, the Barry Bondses, the Alex Rodriguez, all the ones that did steroids? Is David Ortiz the one that you wanted to see go to the Hall of Fame? I'm going to tell you why. Not because I'm not a Boston Red Sox fan, just because it doesn't make any sense how David Ortiz, as a DH, made it to the Hall of Fame. And these guys, who I think are some of the greatest at their positions, didn't even get a sniff. And they're not going to be in the Hall of Fame. When we come back, we'll get into that as well here on the Sports Loudmouths.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we are the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy. I need a new phone number, PD. And Tyler, I'm yawning and need to go home, Harrison. 631-672-3108. You can check out our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out our app, iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Speedy, did you send Lee Bodden my
Yes, I did.
I haven't checked if he was following me.
I'm not sure. It's in our Twitter messages though, because I sent him a bunch of the clips. So
absolutely,
I did tell him.
I like Lee. I definitely like Jerel, and I want Jerel to come out and celebrate my birthday. I think it'll be a really fun time. He'll have a lot of fun with us. I can tell you that right now. It's a little bit crazy, especially my 40th birthday. So I can't imagine what I'm going to do on my 40th birthday, but I'm sure something even more idiotic than I usually do. So. Absolutely. We're going to have Nathan on in just 1 second. But I think when you talk about Jerel and just a story about, his coaches that he talked about. And I think that these players, all these different players that we interview, and I'm more of a, I want to talk to the writers. I want to talk to the analysts. But I like some of these players that are not the superstar players. I mean, we talked to a superstar. Sean Merriman was a superstar at one point of his career. I mean, we have talked to guys that really were successful in the NFL. And I'm not saying Jerel isn't successful, because Jerel was an NFL player. And when you're playing in the NFL for more than 2 or 3 years at the highest level, you're doing something right, okay? Because it's not easy to make it to the highest level. But when you're Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, good. I mean, that's at a notch that, and he talked about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was hiding his face. He was wearing these hats, and you could tell it's Aaron Rodgers. There's nothing. when you're looking at a 6'2", 6'3" guy, and there's not many. First of all, there are not many skinny, tall guys that are 6'2", 6'3" that live in Wisconsin going to a Walmart.
A lot of people don't. Yeah, well,
you know what I
most people
mean.
Don't go to Wisconsin for anything.
You know, going to a Walmart, of course you're going to notice him. So, anyways, why don't we invite Nathan in? What's going on, Nit?
Yo, I feel much better now. So let's go. Let's go.
Much better. You look much better. But the Cowboys aren't in it anymore, so I'm sure you're not happy.
Huh?
Your Cowboys are no longer in it.
Enough mentioning about my Cowboys. All right, I'm over it. I'm ready for next season. And here I'm already saying Sean Payton to Dallas.
Oh, I was about to say, don't say Sean Payton. You're not getting Sean Payton. He doesn't want to work.
Hey,
with
Tyler, hold on a second. He's gonna watch. This year he's gonna be like a Mike McCarthy. Sit out the year, be with his family, and then maybe he's definitely gonna miss coaching. He is.
Right.
So eventually. After this year, next year, 2023, he's gonna. This is when all the teams, not all the teams that need coaches will be.
I believe he's the next Dallas Cowboys head coach. I believe it.
Yeah,
it's not going to be this year. It's not going to be with Mike.
But listen. First, before I say anything, I just want to say thank you to all three of you again for having me on the show. You guys are the best. Tyler, Speedy, and Errol. You guys are the big three of radio. I'm telling you guys are good, talented, and by the way, great interview with you.
Can we get that copy and pasted somewhere?
Yeah, I could paste it on your ass if you want it.
And it's weird again.
I'm just listen. If you want it pasted,
again.
I don't know how you paste a soundbite on his ass, but okay.
Great interview with Jerel Worthy. By the way, that was awesome. I tuned in for the whole thing. Maybe you can tell by my messages. Maybe I was.
We really appreciate it. So why don't we get into the divisional games? We did talk about the Bengals, so we'll skip the Bengals. The Green Bay Packers, and I know me and Tyler were actually we were in the same.
Watching.
We were in this, yeah, we were half watching, but I was watching the game, and
well, that explains a lot.
It was getting. Obviously, it was a cold night. It was a cold night here in New York. It was -6, -7 over there in Green Bay. It started snowing in the second half. A lot of people all over social media after the game, and I know you want to point fingers. You want to say it was certain parts of the game was Aaron Rodgers' fault. That's fine. Maybe he only had 3 targeted players. I mean, could you blame him if you look at all the players that he has on the field? I could only probably name 3 starters on that team altogether offensively. So Randall Cobb, obviously Jones, and Nate Adams, who was double teamed the whole game. For being that he was 20 for 29. But that's not even the situation. Really, it was the special teams. It was the battle of the special teams. There was no running games out of both teams in the second half of the game. The San Francisco 49ers fighting injury all game. George Kittle was practically limping off the field. Their offensive line for the San Francisco 49ers was completely injured throughout the game. They were slipping and sliding. Williams was walking off the field, limping on one foot. Barely could walk. I mean, they're going into the game this coming week in the NFC title game against an LA Rams team.
They're both going to play
as 100% healthy. Yeah, they're playing, but they're not 100% healthy. And you're playing in LA where there's a huge advantage for a team that actually there's no snow. It's not going to be below 0. So it's going to be back and forth game. But what really stood out to me in the game was not Aaron Rodgers. It was the battle of the special teams. What special teams stood out the most? And it was the San Francisco 49ers, the Green Bay Packers special teams. Their kicker missed a field goal, a wide open field goal, could have changed the game and really the speed of the game because it would have been a 2-possession game going into the fourth quarter if their field goal kicker kicked it and actually got it. But that wasn't even it. Also, you look at the block punt where you look at the Green Bay Packers, their special teams after it was blocked, they were looking all over the place. They didn't see the ball. But the only time they saw the ball is when the San Francisco 49ers on the 15-yard line ran it in for a touchdown. Now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have scored a touchdown or not scored a touchdown if they stopped them on the 15-yard line. The problem is you didn't make it a challenge for the San Francisco 49ers to tie the game. And that really changed the momentum of the game. You saw it change the momentum of the game. You're going to blame Aaron Rodgers for that? No, you can't blame Aaron Rodgers that they couldn't run the ball. You can't blame Aaron Rodgers because Their special teams couldn't make the plays the way they should have played them, the way they played all season long. This was one of the Green Bay Packers were a top 5 special teams team all season long. San Francisco, which have been fighting injury all season long, which were not in the top 10 in any special team statistic. They outplayed a team that was a better team all around than they were. So you got to give San Francisco a little bit more credit. You got to give their coach and Kyle Shanahan. Let's be honest. Matt LaFleur is not a good coach. This is the first time he's really, in the second year that he's really went far or deep into the divisional series. And this is the first time that they were the number 1 seed as him as a coach, where the pressure is on him. So Kyle Shanahan's been here. He's been in this position before. He's been to a Super Bowl. So he understands, and he's been as an offensive coordinator in a Super Bowl as well. So that's what.
No, I'm just saying that's very funny because I was going to say you need to give Kyle Shanahan more credit.
I'm not going to give Kyle Shanahan. He outplayed a coach that was on his coaching staff. Okay, he knows the play
and the
calling.
Week before that, he outmanaged Dan Quinn. Kyle Shanahan's coaching is why the Niners are going to the NFC Championship.
I don't believe that's true. I think it was listen. I think the reason why the San Francisco 49ers are going to the NFC title game is because at time fashion they make the plays. It's not Kyle Shanahan telling the punt return to punt, the block the punt and run the ball in. That was really on the amount of luck and how the special teams were set up at the line of scrimmage.
Any blocked field goal, blocked punt. It's
if they don't block that, the game's over. There's no way they win that game. So to me, I understand why everybody is taking shots at Aaron Rodgers, and I'm really gonna get off the whole Aaron Rodgers thing because to me, I don't blame Aaron Rodgers. Could Aaron Rodgers have played better? Yeah, he could have played better. But when you're playing in a below-0 game at -7 and it's snowing, it's slippery, you have really no weapons besides Devontae Adams that was getting double and triple teamed in the open field. He barely saw an open pass. A matter of fact, I think they said there were 2 plays in the game, and those were the 2 catches that he had or 3 catches that he had in the game, that he wasn't double or triple teamed in the game. So that just tells you, and Randall Cobb, let's be honest, he's a washed-up player. And Jones, he's a good running back who made a couple of good catches. He was horrible at running the ball in the game throughout the game.
Huge catch, too.
His catching ability in the game was good. Yeah, he couldn't run the ball. And that's where when it's cold out there like it was, and it was snowing the way it was, you run the ball. And they couldn't run the ball. And either could San Francisco. It was really in the matter of mistakes in the second half. And the most mistakes. And San Francisco made the least amount of mistakes. That's why they won.
And the block punt was a big difference in the game too.
It was the number 1
block
thing.
Punt. By the way, kudos to the 49ers. No one expected them to get this far anyway.
No one.
Yeah, obviously, during the regular season, they had a lot of ups and downs, and they held their composure. They proved everyone wrong. Whoever doubted them, they proved them wrong already. So kudos to Kyle Shanahan. Kudos to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a winner. Garoppolo wins. He's a winning quarterback. I don't care whoever says anything negative about him. Go somewhere else because man, this guy he knows how to win games. He's been to the Super Bowl before. So kudos to him. Kudos to
He won't be with the 49ers next year, win or lose.
He'll win somewhere else.
No.
I would love the Giants to sign him.
That'll never happen.
I'm just saying.
No. But kudos to the 49ers. They're always known for defense. They have a great defense. This reminds me of the Eagles season when they won their Super Bowl. No one expected the Eagles to win that year. The Eagles.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah. So no one. This kind of reminds me. You know what's funny? The
Eagles are a better team. The Eagles are a better team. When they won it with Nick Foles, they had one of the top 3 running back. A dual threat. They always have a good dual threat. They had their wide receiving core. They had Alshon Jeffries. They had
Debo.
They had a very good, and their offensive and defense. They had the best offensive line in football and had one of the best defensive lines in football in all of football.
San Fran checks both those boxes.
No, their offensive line's not anywhere close to what the Eagles were. The Eagles had the number 1 offensive line in football.
I understand.
Their D line probably is.
The Niners D line is better than that Eagles D line, but that offensive line for the Niners is a lot better than you think.
The Niners D line is better than Eagles D line that year. I don't think so.
Armstead and Bosa.
Armstead and Bosa.
And Javon Kinlaw.
They had three players that made the Pro Bowl on that Eagles team in the front seven.
The Niners
and one made the All-Pro, and had one that made the All-Pro.
Well, Fletcher Cox made the All-Pro.
Yes, and the other two guys.
Brandon Graham, I think, was a Pro Bowler, and probably Nigel Bradham was the linebacker that made a Pro Bowler.
There were three other guys in the front seven that made the. That was a good defensive line.
I believe Fred Warner was All-Pro. Nick Bosa should have been All-Pro,
but he wasn't.
15.5 sacks. How is that not All-Pro?
But he's not.
Well, I think Nick Bosa outplayed.
Go ahead. What, Nathan?
You agreed? All right. I was gonna say in this playoffs. I mean, in the four teams remaining right now, this one common thing between these two teams. Bengals and 49ers are great stories. If you want an entertaining Super Bowl, you got to root for the Chiefs and the Rams to make it to the Super Bowl. I think Bengals and
that's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, no, Bengals and 49ers are great stories. If they end up going to the Super Bowl, it's going to be a great story for both teams. But if you want an entertaining Super Bowl, it's the Chiefs and the Rams. So the common thing that for each team is great story. But if you want an entertaining Super Bowl, and
Chiefs are a great story too.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, America wrote them off after week 6.
Yeah, but everybody knew
won the Super Bowl already.
Not everybody, because there are a few people talking right now that said they were done.
That's fine. But everybody knew in the beginning of the season they were going to compete. So what? Everybody thought they were done. They still have a talented team. They still made the playoffs. And everybody knew in the second half, the way they were moving towards the way they were going to be a playoff-bound team and they were going to be dangerous. And by the way, as good as the Chiefs look right now and as good as they played against the Buffalo Bills, they shouldn't be going to the AFC title game.
Should not be.
They should not be.
They should not be.
Okay? But we'll get into that in just a few moments.
Trey White's injury finally bit the Bills in the ass.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it was White. I think it was a terrible play calling in 13.
Trey White said the Bills are going to the AFC Championship.
But you don't have these other third and fourth corners having trouble covering Tyreek Hill and those guys.
That 69-yard touchdown never happens.
That's fine. But with the there's really nothing more to say about the Packer game. I just don't like how social media and some of these guys listen. You don't have to like Aaron Rodgers, and that's fine. You don't have to like him. You can hate him. You can despise him. It doesn't really matter. To sit out there and take shots at the guy. I've interviewed 3 or 4 guys on this show that's played with Aaron Rodgers that said he's a great teammate. A great teammate and a great leader. Yep. For the fact that maybe 3 or 4 other guys like Jermichael Finley or Greg Jennings or somebody else, the other 2 or 3 guys, because he wouldn't throw him the ball or it didn't work out with him, and say he's an evil, bad person. I think it's ridiculous. And again, you can like somebody, you can hate somebody. It doesn't really matter.
Well, it's also a popular narrative too. Like I think a lot of from general football fans, they always like when the popular, the annoying teams that are always in it lose. Like everyone, Nathan, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but most people love when the Cowboys lose. Everyone loves when the Patriots lost. Everyone loved when Tom Brady lost. Everyone loves when Aaron Rodgers lost. The Steelers for a while. Like it's just that kind of mantra.
I feel like,
especially this kind of year with the toe video and all the vaccine stuff, it definitely was highlighted further.
I just don't get else what we need to do. I mean, everyone's bringing up the weather and this. Both teams played in the same conditions. It's not like Jimmy Garoppolo had sunshine and roses and calm pockets. The weather and the field were exactly the same for both quarterbacks.
First of all, Jimmy had a shitty game.
So what? He led a game-winning drive to beat Aaron Rodgers on the road.
Jimmy had a
and by the way, Aaron Rodgers doesn't really play well in the playoffs. That narrative sticks.
Does Aaron Rodgers have a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Does Jimmy Garoppolo have a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Does he won a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yes, he's a backup. He didn't play.
Doesn't matter. You said, does he have a Super Bowl? The answer is yes.
Did he ever play in a Super Bowl? Won in a Super Bowl?
No, but he's checked both other boxes.
That's fine. He never won a Super Bowl by himself. And him on the field.
No, neither has Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers did.
It's a team game. He didn't win it by himself.
I'm talking about being on the field and making the throws.
All right. No, I get that. I'm saying Aaron Rodgers didn't win it alone.
Nobody wins it alone. It's a team game. It's the biggest team game, which obviously you and all the other Brady lovers think that Brady did it himself.
Tom Brady's the only reason that Sunday game was close.
Okay. I'll tell you why the game was close. It was because the Rams made a lot of mistakes.
You hate Tom Brady.
It has nothing to do with Tom Brady. We're going to get into the Rams.
Twice.
We're going to get. Nathan, do you have anything to say about this game before I get into the Rams game? Because I'm going to explain to you why I think.
You know what? I think I think today someone was saying or whatever, some radio. I was watching. What was I watching? The Coward Show. They were talking about Aaron Rodgers complaining about, I guess, the fans. I think, or someone. I think he said Aaron Rodgers was talking about the fans and making excuses.
He was saying why the fans are like victimizing him, or something like that.
Yeah. Why are they victimizing?
Because you're a loudmouth.
Really? He's a loudmouth?
He is a loudmouth.
What? Okay, what
the
makes him such a loudmouth?
Thing. Oh,
We're not talking politics. We're not talking politics. That has nothing to do. That's a
that's why
vaccine.
people don't like it. Because you don't shut up, or you don't own your own shit. You blame everybody else. Aaron Rodgers never came out and said, "You know what? Yeah, I should be better. I should have more than one Super Bowl ring." You say he's the greatest pure quarterback you've ever seen.
Yeah, he is.
How do you have one ring then?
Again, you say it's a team game. Everything's got to move. Why did San Francisco win that game? It wasn't because the quarterback played, but the quarterback made some plays that helped them win the game. It was their special teams. It was their defense, tackling and hitting Aaron Rodgers in certain parts of the game. It was their all-around game. The Green Bay Packers, which was the number one team in all of football, the reason why they didn't win is they weren't working on all the Pistons. There was 2 Pistons working, and that was it. And that's why they lost the game. And the coaching and where the coaching was, because they have a young coach who's never really won anything or been anywhere and was behind Kyle Shanahan all those years. And by the way, Kyle Shanahan knows your every move because you're using his playbook. Obviously, it works to your advantage, okay? Being that you're the veteran coach and you're using his playbook.
I've got one question for you and one question only, and this will sum it up. If Tom Brady quarterbacks that Packer team, do they win that game?
No.
Never mind. Then there's nothing to tell you.
Snug says, it will be interesting to see what Tom Brady has to say when he's on the show. All hail the Brady goat. Jay Cutler is the man. I love that he fleeced the Dolphins that last year. All the fans invited to Earl's 40th. Sleep over at Earl's house.
Where's my invite?
OMG, the guy is the Beeves' brother by another mother. Jeff says Rodgers blows. Snug says go Pack go on vacation. Aaron Rodgers could have been part of the Buccaneers.
Errol, you gonna have a big party at your house?
It's not going to be at my house. We're going to be doing it somewhere else, but it's my 40th, so
nice.
As it gets closer, I'm sure we're going to be doing something. I did on a boat this past year. I don't care, Speedy. I don't care the stupidity that comes out of Snug's mouth. I mean, it's going all over the place. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So, anyways, I want to get into the Buccaneers game, and okay, you want to go and look at the comeback and everything like that. The Rams practically gave the game away and they did everything they possibly could in the second half. Especially, they could have ended the game at the end of the second quarter on the 2-yard line if Akers didn't drop the ball. Okay, so the game would have been completely over if Akers actually didn't drop the ball and they ran the ball or even kicked the field goal in the game. All right, so that's one. Number 2, in the second half of the game, the Rams did every single possible thing to make and get Tom Brady back into the game. A matter of fact, there was not one time beside from a punt return that Tom Brady took the ball down all the way in the field in any part of the second half, except when the Rams made mistakes. The ball over the center putting the ball over Stafford's head on the 50-yard line really set them up in a good position. The fumble by Cooper Kupp, which you never ever see all season long. He drops the ball and puts them in a position where they're 30, 40 yards from scoring a touchdown. I mean, anything and everything that possibly could have happened that favored Brady to get him back into the game. Now, listen, Brady had to make the plays at that point. No question that he did. But listen, the momentum. You're in Tampa. You couldn't hear anything. Matthew Stafford, how many times were they calling the timeout in the first half? Matthew Stafford couldn't hear himself even read anything. He's yelling at the center. How many times did the center make a mistake? Not just that play. The center dropped the ball. And the ball was fumbling between their legs. It was not once, I think twice in the second half of the game. There were just so many mistakes. And listen, again, you don't see those things happen in games. You don't. And in the fact that you saw that in the game, it brought the fans back into the game, which gave them the momentum, which brought them back. The fact that last play by Todd Bowles, and I will say this, the reason why that game didn't go to overtime was because Todd Bowles
missed a field goal.
Because Todd Bowles, to me, at that particular play, which when you listen to what McVay said at the end of the game, he said they've watched enough film at the end of a game that Todd Bowles did an all-out blitz at the end of the game. He always does that in certain positions, especially when the game's close. They predicted that he was going to do that. They sent Cooper Kupp up the middle of the field, and then Matthew Stafford read it perfectly, threw the ball down the field. Cooper Kupp made the catch, and they kicked the field goal kick. Okay? Great. So, to me, you could say whatever. And again, it was 70 degrees in Tampa, okay? And you can make faces all you want.
Because it's not weather in LA.
It's not. I'm talking about when you're talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, the position that they were both in the game. Tom Brady was playing in a weather that was 70 degrees. Everything was falling in position for him to win the game and put the game in his hands to lose the game. And you can make faces all you want. Go watch it. Obviously, you didn't watch the game because I watched the game. I watched the game a second time on the NFL Network. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
So you're going to tell me that Tom Brady didn't get all that luck that was falling on his hands?
You know why that luck started?
Why did it happen? I want to hear.
Because Sean McVay knew, Matt Stafford knew what happens when the baddest dude in the room gets the ball back. He's seen this play out before. Sean McVay's already lost to Tom Brady on the biggest stage. Sean McVay knows Tom Brady's the GOAT. Tom Brady's going to get them back in the game if we don't slam the door shut. And the only reason that game didn't go to overtime was because Ryan Suckup missed an easy field goal in the, I believe, first quarter.
Really?
Yes.
Do you remember the Rams? Now, do you remember the Rams hit it missing that 48-yard? When was the last time you seen Gay and any field goal kicker?
Oh, the team that cut him, you mean?
I'm asking you a question. Who was the best kicker? Who's the second best kicker in all of football? How many times have you seen a kicker? Yeah, he was the second best kicker in football this year. When was the last time you seen a kicker kick a ball on the 48-yard line and miss the it was dead straight, missed the field goal by 5 yards? It never happens, buddy. It never happens. Don't tell me about Suckham or anybody like that.
So instead, what's the opposite of deflate gate? They added weight to the ball?
Here's what happened. Tampa was very lucky in the game. Very, very lucky because the game was over. The Akers drop on the second on the 2-yard line.
Ultra talented.
Ultra talented. Yeah.
That front seven's nasty.
Let me tell you something. You've never seen Cooper Kupp drop the ball at all this year. He dropped the ball maybe three times. Okay, jitters. No, it wasn't jitters. It wasn't jitters.
It was jitters.
Get that. Oh, if it was jitters, why did he make the catch at the end of the game that helped them win the game?
In football right now.
Why?
Dropped it right in
Rams are not the best team in football.
I said Cooper Kupp's the best receiver in football.
He was the best receiver this year.
That's what I literally just said.
I don't think he's the best receiver in football. I think he was the best receiver this year.
Right. That's literally what I just said.
No, you said he's the best receiver in football.
Right now, it's him.
He was the best receiver this year. I think if you would ask me right now, is Cooper Kupp the best? Is Cooper Kupp the best receiver right now in the league? He's not. He's not.
Who is?
He's not.
Who is?
I look at the team, look at the wide receiver. I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit there. Hopkins, when healthy, I take Hopkins over him.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
That's what I was waiting
I would take Devontae Adams. Cooper Kupp had a great year this year, but I'm not going to say he's the best wide receiver in the league.
So Tom Brady
had
with
the best
Evans,
season.
Tyler Johnson, and a washed-up Gronk, as you say, came back from 27-3 and almost took the game to overtime. But Tom Brady, played in cold weather before.
Tyler, if you're watching,
won the most.
Tyler, if you were watching, if you're going to seriously sit here and tell me that it was because of Tom Brady, that's why they won. They were coming back in the game. It was mistakes that brought it back in the game.
Let's talk about some
There were a lot of mistakes.
There were 3 bullshit penalties that gave the Rams 45 yards.
Oh,
for no reason
what do you know? The refs helping the Rams.
Right.
Blame
the refs. That seems to be a popular
LA Super Bowl. Let's cover them. No one.
I'm Brady from the mouth and going, hey, look at me. Look, he hit me in the mouth. That's a penalty.
No, there was one or two.
That game wouldn't have been that close if there weren't mistakes like the Rams. There was no way in hell they were coming back in that game. The Rams made it.
But they made it come back in that game.
They came back in the game because the Rams gave them practically the game. They practically said, here, Brady, win the game. We're giving you the goddamn game. They gave them all the chances in the world to win the game, except at the end of the game.
It's just ironic because if the
It's true.
12s were switched,
It's true.
Aaron Rodgers right now,
No, I
you'd be
wouldn't.
praising as the
No, I
best
wouldn't.
quarterback of all
You're wrong.
time.
You're wrong,
I'm
Tyler.
not wrong.
You're wrong, Tyler, because
Rodgers put up 10 points, and you're saying
Rodgers didn't put up any points.
No, it's a special point.
He didn't. Rodgers didn't put up any points.
Oh, that's even worse.
That's
Brady
fine.
scored 27 points.
Brady
took
was
the team down 21. Then it's all the
right,
refs.
Brady, yeah.
The Rams gave it to him. The
Rams did
fumbles.
give it to him. Speedy,
The refs
in
screwed
any
him.
kind of way in the fourth quarter, the mistakes that the Rams went, if the Rams didn't make all those mistakes in the fourth quarter, do you think it was anywhere going to come close to the game?
No,
Do you
because
think the game was
I think they played well in the third quarter too. So I think it was mainly just the fourth. They got overconfident. They got kind of content.
I don't think it was overconfident. It was just mistakes.
Yeah, no, I think they celebrated early. I think you saw a lot of like not jitters, like nervous jitters, like you're saying, Tyler. It was kind of the other way around.
It was never going to be close. It was all those mistakes that they made. They practically said, "Here, Brady, here's it." I said it. By the way, I was watching the game with my sister. It was my brother's birthday. I was at my mother's house, and I said that my brother and her boyfriend said the game's over in a second at the end of the second quarter. I said the game's not over because I could see this game going in the third, at the end of the third or fourth quarter, where the Rams are going to drop the ball and make mistakes. And as soon as I said that at the end of the second quarter, Akers drops the ball on the 2-yard line. They recovered the ball. I said, "You watch." The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to have a chance to win because of terrible mistakes that happened in the fourth quarter. And what happened? I wanted to smack the shit out of my sister's boyfriend after that because I said, "I told you this was going to happen. I told you." So maybe it's just a Brady's. Brady has this this dimension on him where there's just luck that falls on his head.
It's not luck. The team was afraid.
I don't know if
I don't think. I think it's the opposite. I think it's they got too comfortable and then they just got sloppy.
Listen, Brady came back.
You're
was
not
great.
too comfortable when Tom Brady's eliminating a lead.
When the Rams have only lost one game ever when they were leading at halftime to begin with under Sean McVay, and they were up by 24 points, and they played well in the third quarter too. They only scored one touchdown, but they still moved the ball well.
Any possible mistake that could have happened in the fourth quarter, it all had. Cooper Kupp dropping the ball, a field goal kicker that never is. If he missed the kick this year, it never was short 5 yards. It was dead on, and it completely just fell right in front of the ball.
Right.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen Tom Brady get a
never
personal
seen that
conduct call either.
Yeah.
Well, but I'll tell you why he got that. Before the game, a week before the game, he said when the press was talking to him, he said that I have to admit. I get more calls than any quarterback in the league. As soon as he said that,
so he was a humble guy.
I don't know about humble,
That's
but
a humble
he opened his mouth. No, humble. He does get all the calls. He cries and he gets what he wants. He's Tom Brady.
He got hit in the head, which is a flag.
That's fine.
That wasn't the hit that wasn't the hit that caused it though.
No,
it was a compilation.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was
No,
a hit.
Von Miller's hit was not to the head.
It wasn't to the head. It wasn't to that.
Okay.
It was a compilation of hits that caused
it. Was
because there were other ones too.
It was under his neck to his shoulder. It was right over here.
Von Miller's helmet hit Tom Brady's helmet. I don't care what you guys want to call that. That's head-to-head connection. That's a flag in the NFL, regardless of if it's accidental, non-accidental, the wind, the balls. It doesn't matter. That's a flag. Tom Brady was saying, "I'm bleeding. He hit me in the mouth. Where's the flag?" There's no reason
they were
to call
down by
Brady
17 anyways, Tyler.
But you can't say that because that's 15 yards. What if they get a field goal? Guess what? Then it's 30-30. Then you go to overtime.
The fact is, Tyler, and that was, first of all, it's 30-30. First of all, Tyler, the game shouldn't have even been that close. The fact that the Rams practically said, "Here, you want to win the game, Tom? Do what you do. Here, we're going to give you the game. You just make the throws." And to me, it was. And how about this? Jalen Ramsey giving what's his name again? An open. You guys thinking that Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in football?
He is.
He's not. It was Mike. Was it Mike?
Mike Evans. That toss to Mike Evans, not even challenging him the ball, letting him have that open. That was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Jalen Ramsey should be. No, it wasn't. He was right tailing. He let Mike Evans outrun him. A taller, not faster guy outrun him. That was an embarrassing. And by the way, Mike Evans, who's not even 100% healthy in the game, ran right past him. Jalen Ramsey should be ashamed of himself. And he's lucky. Eric Weddle, that hit That almost cost him the game, that hit, which, by the way, thank God the ball hit the ground before that happened.
Right.
Because
yeah.
if it did, that would have screwed him. And that, yes, that would have even given him a better chance to win the game. Every single possibly thing that could have possibly happened that favored Tampa Bay in the game, because the LA Rams are a bunch of idiots, they practically gave the game away to Tampa. Practically gave it away.
So the
Again,
Bucs get no
now,
credit.
Nathan, what do you got to say?
So did the Eric Weddle thing? Did he come out? Did he come out of retirement just for this game?
Yeah, and he almost
Yeah,
cost them
the Rams lost their top 2 safeties, one of which in the middle of the season, the other one in the last game of the season. So he essentially is playing now their free safety.
Almost cost him the game. He almost cost everything.
No. Yeah, I know that, but like, here's it. To be honest, for when I watch games, for me it's a game of momentum. In my opinion. So I think it's not luck. It wasn't luck, in my opinion. I think the Buccaneers had a better game plan going into the second half. I think they played much better.
You think it's a game plan for the ball going over the center, putting the ball over?
No, I'm not saying that.
I would say they played well in the third quarter.
Come on, Nathan. Come on, Nathan.
But doesn't that help his point? If he played well in the third quarter, and this is what I don't understand about what you're saying.
No, listen, the Rams. No, I know the Rams made mistakes. Okay, I agree with you that
He said they played well. So doesn't that mean the lack of time the Bucs had of mistakes makes their comeback better?
No, not the Bucs. No, not the Bucs. The Rams made mistakes.
Doesn't make sense. You're saying they played bad for a half. He's saying they played bad for a quarter.
It was a quarter.
Okay. It's really hard to make up 21 points in a quarter in the NFL.
Not really. Every single time you touch the ball, you put it over the center. You drop the ball on the 40, where you give them short field. You miss a field goal kick. Put you on almost the 50-yard line, where it was short. Where you did all season long, you didn't miss more than you didn't miss a 50-yard field goal kick, and you kicked it 48 yards. Okay. How about what's his name again? Weddle's putting the hit the way he did. Akers dropping the ball on the 2-yard line, which could have cost them.
I get it. They fumbled, they turned it over.
They did every time. Every time in the fourth quarter they touched the ball, they made a mistake. Except at the end when they had to throw it down the field and get lucky that Cooper Kupp was open and he caught the ball. That really was luck and just guessing that he was going to do an all-out blitz. Because to me, if it went to overtime, I said it on my text message to Beeve and Jeff, game's over. The Buccaneers are going to win, and the LA Rams practically gave the game away to them. And I was so infuriated. Not that the fact that the Buccaneers came back, because I thought it was a great comeback. It was the mistakes, the crazy, weird, dumb, ridiculous mistakes the Rams made in the fourth quarter that that if you give them any kind of life, you're not even at home. The fans are against you. You can't hear anything. Everything was against you. How do you make these mistakes that practically go? And I'll tell you this right. They do this week against San Francisco. San Francisco's a better defensive team. San Francisco's going to kill them. If they make these mistakes, listen, they were down. The Rams had a 17-0 lead, and by the way, would have knocked off San Francisco out of the playoffs. San Francisco comes back and wins it over overtime, and San Francisco's defense hit Stafford in the fourth quarter. 5-6 times? He had 5 sacks.
Their pressure rate's been insane since that
in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to tell you this right now: if they play that way against this defense, they don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance against San Francisco. And who would have thought that? Saying that about San Francisco.
And again, they've really only had the one bad quarter too. And that's even the playoffs. The whole game against Arizona, they played well. They didn't take their foot off the gas or look sloppy at the end of that game either, even with a big lead. So maybe it's also a learning experience for the Rams. Maybe that 49ers game humbled them a little bit because
they're going to choke. I think they're going to.
I hope you're right.
I think it's Rams, Kansas City in the Super Bowl, but I think they choke in the Super Bowl.
I think in my opinion, I think the Bengals have a shot.
Oh, they do. They do. They're just gonna get that offensive line because the Chiefs are gonna blitz a lot.
That's why I don't think they're gonna have a chance because I think the Chiefs.
They're gonna have to really turn that around, the offensive line. But I hope you're right about the Rams. They do choke because
they'll make it into the Super Bowl, but
they'll make it to the Super Bowl because I'm worried that this. They love the NFL loves this kind of thing with the LA storylines. They wanted this to work forever, so I can see that kind of thing happening. But yeah, they have to figure out
how it's gonna be in Dallas anyway.
Oh, maybe, but still,
I think it is going to be in Dallas. I do.
LA is basically unannouncing that. Yeah, we don't want it here.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know yet, but it it sounds like I think with the COVID-19, I think they might move it to Dallas.
Oh, so
they're not going to want restrictions. They're crazy. There's no way. There's no way they're going to want restrictions there. They're going to want standing room only 100,000 people. Texas will give you that. And I don't bring up politics, but
so they're trying to move the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, to Dallas.
Yeah, they've been reported because of the.
I
COVID
actually was
concerns.
one of the guys that reported it a couple weeks ago. That I said that I've been hearing some things in the grapevine that they don't want to have it in LA because of the restrictions with COVID-19 and all that other stuff, and having people within a six feet area and all that other stuff. They don't want to do it in LA, even though LA wants it still there, and they're going to lose a lot of money if it isn't there. I think they're going to wind up, in the next couple of days, I think we're going to hear that it's going to be moved to Dallas. And a lot of people that got their hotel reservations, they're going to be screwed.
Yeah.
They're going to be screwed.
Yeah, tickets they might lose.
Yeah, then
what if people in LA
travel
bought it
too,
to be
yeah.
there or can't go to Dallas or can't book a hotel? It's going to be a chaos.
Right. Travel too is going to be a lot. Plane tickets.
They're going to be screwed. It doesn't really matter. And with the Rams, as far as I'm concerned, the Rams did everything possible to pretty much say, here, Brady, come and win it for us. Come and win it for you. Come and win it for you. And I just thought, and you want to know something? Just watching that game, I said it at the end of the game. After the game was over, I'm going to say there's no way this team, the way they played in this game, is winning a Super Bowl. They're going to go through 2 games. They got to play San Francisco, who, by the way, has played them twice this year, and they know how to play.
And they beat them twice.
And San Francisco knows how to play them. They know how to play them.
Yeah.
And if San Francisco plays them the way they've played all season long against the LA Rams, they could beat them there. And even if the Rams get through, which I believe the Rams will win this game against San Francisco, they're going to go against Kansas City or even the Bengals. I think it's Kansas City. And Kansas City, you can't do that. You cannot keep Kansas City in a throwing game with Mahomes. If you play a throwing game with that offense, you don't win. And they're not going to win. Because what they're going to do, what the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do in that Super Bowl is they're going to double team. They're going to absolutely double team Cooper Kupp, and they're going to make all the other players beat you. And honestly, that offense, besides Cooper Kupp, none of them really scare me.
They've played well, though, the playoffs.
They don't
Van
scare
Jefferson
me.
and Odell.
They don't
Both of them
scare
have played
me.
well.
I'm glad all you Giant fans can hear this. How does it feel to give up on the kid? Look who's playing well in the playoffs. Look who's a disgruntled organization and a hot damn mess.
Well, no, Giants fans have claimed that
he got a lot of money. Odell Beckham. He got a lot of money.
Yeah, the Giants gave him.
We know.
The Giants
and the
paid
Browns
him.
and the Browns
and the Browns gave him a new contract. They gave him. I think he's making $22.5 million a year.
Yeah.
And now he's making $700,000, which, by the way, he took the league minimum and he put it in Bitcoin. And now it's that $700,000 that he put into it is only worth $35,000. So he's playing for $35,000.
Oh my God!
Hey, listen,
a pretty good investment of $35,000.
All I know is
it's good. No, they gave him $700,000, but he took the $700,000.
No, I know. I'm saying
and
from the
put
Rams.
it in Bitcoin, and he lost a lot of money.
This is the gamble that he's really taking. Even if he plays well next week and they lose, he's earned himself a huge contract this offseason.
I don't know about huge. He's going to get a contract. I don't know huge.
2-3 years, $20 million a year.
I don't think he's getting $20 million a year. I can't see that happening. I could see him getting 15. He'll get a. I think a team will pay him year to year. I can't trust Odell.
That'll be a good replacement for us for Amari Cooper. If we trade him.
You have no money.
Dallas is not going to spend for a wide
don't have
receiver.
money.
You have no money.
Dallas means other things other than wide receivers.
I know.
They got CeeDee Lamb, and they could sign. They could re-sign
Cedric Wilson's young and cheap. Why are you going to bring in Odell?
Well, they're going to bring. If they get rid of Omari, they'll probably re-sign Gallup.
Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah, they'll
sign Vander Esch.
You can draft
They're not going to be able to sign Vander Esch.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to sign Vander Esch.
Let CeeDee Lamb be a number one.
They'll
you could be fine as
franchise
a
him.
slot
They
guy.
could franchise him. I don't think they're going to be able to.
Because Nathan, the other thing you got to remember too is they also had a tight end in Dalton Schultz that played well this year too. So you can live with CeeDee Lamb as a one, Cedric Wilson as a slot guy. Sign either draft a veteran, draft a 4th round, 3rd round.
Unless you have Blake Jarvin coming back soon too. So.
I wouldn't trust that.
Schultz is better than Jarwin.
I would not go as far as to trust Blake Jarwin, but just draft a 3rd or 4th round guy, or just sign a veteran. You don't really need to spend big money on a wide receiver.
And then there was the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, which I thought was the game of the week. I thought it was
that was crazy. I gotta say something about this, but Ari, you go, I guess.
I thought it was I knew it was going to be the game of the week, we talked about it before we even made our picks. And remember when I told you guys, I said the game that's really going to stand out is the Bills in Kansas City. It makes a lot of sense. It was cold, but it wasn't Green Bay cold. It was like 28 degrees, 30 degrees, but the weather was pretty good. I mean, the running games, they can run the ball. They were throwing. But what really stuck out to me in the game was the growth of Josh Allen and what Josh Allen became over the last 2 seasons. We saw what he was last year, how Kansas City ended him, how embarrassed he was at the end of the game, how the press was talking about how immature he was throwing the ball at the defensive lineman after he got sacked at the end of the game at fourth and 9, which practically cost him the game. But what Josh Allen did was show you the birth of a quarterback, a star quarterback, a quarterback that we're going to see and we're going to be talking about for many, many years to come in competition with Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. And I say this because the Jets had a chance to draft Josh Allen. They drafted Sam Darnold, and it might go back and it might haunt the Jets, just like the Dan Marino haunted a lot of people over the years, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Jets, all the other teams that passed up on him. How about the San Francisco 49ers passing up on Aaron Rodgers the way they did with Alex Smith and all that other stuff, and all the other teams passing up? This is the time when you look at Josh Allen, and yes, at the time, nobody thought Josh Allen was going to transition into this, and he was a project. But his ability to move inside and out of the pocket, his size, his understanding of how to see the play happen before it happens, and being that how many times in the fourth quarter, 4th and 11, 4th and 12, he needed to make the play with 4 or 5 minutes left of the game, and he made the play, kept his team in the game, and came back 25 points in, 2.5 minutes, most points in NFL history in a playoff game. To really take it to overtime. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had a sensational game. There's no question that he did, but we expect that from Patrick Mahomes. What Josh Allen did in the game was absolutely sensational. And Davis having 4 touchdowns in the game was sensational too. Gabriel Davis.
Tell me I was crazy for saying that he was going to step up, or you said something when I said that?
I think I did last week. I don't know about this week.
The fact is that Gabriel Davis breaking, an NFL record, having 4 touchdowns in a game was sensational. And Josh Allen, that Josh Allen showed you the growth of a young quarterback that's going to be a star in this league. And that, my friends, we're going to see for many, many years. We're going to see Kansas City, Buffalo in AFC title games, Super Bowls. Both of them are Josh Allen is going to win a Super Bowl. He could win multiple Super Bowls. He is going to. Now, I don't know what he's going to be without Brian Dable. I don't know what he's going to be. We don't know. But I don't think it matters who the offensive coordinator is now. I think his development has happened. I think you bring in another smart young offensive coordinator to let him run his offense and let him use his strength, his footwork, short passing, and his arm strength. I mean, Josh Allen is going to be a star in his league. He was sensational. And to me, the best player in that game, as good as Mahomes was, and he was sensational. Josh Allen made bigger plays in the game, and I thought Josh Allen was the player of the game, even though he didn't win the game. It's crazy. And by the way, Josh Allen is the first quarterback in NFL history in back-to-back games to have 10 or more touchdowns and not go to the Super Bowl.
Yep. All right, man. I love Josh. I love the way Josh Allen plays. You hit it right on the head. But I mean, obviously they played a great football against Kansas City Chiefs. But towards the end, what got me was how come Sean McDermott did not squib kick the ball there?
That wouldn't have mattered. I don't
know. Mahomes can reach from field line to field line. You don't squib kick. And even when Romo said it, or Jim Nantz.
I'm going to tell you what you could do after you guys are done. I told you what you could have done.
Yeah, but I know.
You're basically saying here's half field.
Right.
That's like saying here, MJ, walk the ball up court. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have taken that much time off the clock anyway, because now players can just go down easily and just kneel and give yourself up, where you might have wasted 2 seconds, but what was 2 seconds going to make? 13 versus 11 is you both have the same kind of playbook. It's 2 plays. You got to get down the field anyway. The Bills' problem was the lack of tackling after the catch. And to Tyler's point, what he said
By
earlier.
the way, a squid kick would have taken 3 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
But I think that's still 2 plays. So I'm with Tyler.
Not necessarily, because I would have squid kicked like Nathan said. And what I would have done after that, instead of playing prevent defense, which Leslie Frazier was absolutely ridiculous doing, I would have blitzed. I would have blitzed 4 guys or brought 5 guys up and played the middle of the field. That's what a normal that's what they were doing the game, which was throwing Kansas City and Mahomes off in every kind of way. I would have blitzed 4 or 5 guys and played in the middle of the field and made them beat me on the outside. They wouldn't have done that they couldn't have done that in 10 seconds. They wouldn't have been there. That's what they should have done. It made a lot of sense. They should have squid because that's 3 seconds off the clock. That's 10 seconds. 2 plays, yes, they can make 2 plays. But Leslie Frazier, I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Right.
I prevent defense never works. Ask Rex Ryan. We've seen this before. Ask any defensive coordinator that played prevent defense against the good quarterbacks. It don't work good against the good ones. It never worked against Peyton Manning. Couldn't work against Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers even, and Ben Roethlisberger. And by the way, if you remember Eli Manning in the Super Bowl, it didn't work. And that's what the Patriots tried to do. It doesn't work.
Yeah, they tried to guard the sideline to too much extreme, and that's what the 49ers did against the Cowboys and the infamous spike. That's why they did the run. They did the same kind of thing. It seemed like everybody was shot out to the outside, so Tyreek Hill had a seam to run up the middle. Now, I understand you don't want to allow the yards after the catch maybe to a different receiver. I could get that, but Tyreek Hill, you cannot let him get loose like that. He's the guy that's going to get stretched and get those extra yards because they had the 2 timeouts too. So there's no point in having to guard the sideline. You don't necessarily have to blitz, but just have some guys spread out to all parts of the field or make somebody else beat you because you have the 2 timeouts.
Now, how could McDermott sit there and let this go on? Yeah. You see this, you're playing prevent defense. You know Mahomes is going to throw it down the field. He needs to get his team to the 30-yard line to even have a chance at a field goal kick. The smartest thing to do, yes, you should have squid kicked it. I know it's 13 seconds. I know you're putting yourself at risk. I would have squid kicked it to the sidelines because even if what's his name?
15-yard penalty if it goes out of bounds.
No. I'm not talking about out of bounds. Their kicker, who's been very, very good all season long with the squid kick, and he did it against the Jets twice this year. He could have squid kicked it closer to the sidelines, to the 30 or even the 40-yard line, and made what's his name? Patrick Mahomes beat you by blitzing him and making him and put the pressure on him. You had all game long. You were putting pressure on him, and he couldn't do the things in the middle of the field. I don't understand why you stopped doing that. And you gave him a chance to kick the field goal. And I knew as soon as Allen didn't win the coin toss, the game was over.
Yeah, at that point with the way the back and forth is. But why not just kick it regularly, though? Don't kick a touchback.
They did that. It didn't work.
No. Don't kick a touchback. Kick it to where it's short right outside the end zone. Then you probably get 5-6 seconds off the clock. Then you're down to 7 seconds. That's one play that you have to get into field goal range. Then you could probably operate your defense to cover
any way you want to say, any way you want to do it.
You guys are acting like Tyreek Hill just can't outrun everyone on the field.
No. I'm agreeing with you on the squid kick.
Okay,
because of that.
Track level, go Usain Bolt fast, run. I'll put the ball wherever you need it. Like that's how simple it is for these two.
Let me ask you a question. How many times did the Buffalo Bills get a punt return ran right down the field against them this year?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to say 0.
One time. One time all season long. One time. The chances of that happening are slim to none. Okay?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Tyreek Hill did that. Was it him?
It wasn't Tyreek Hill that did it against Buffalo.
Tyreek Hill did it
Yeah,
on
it was Tyreek Hill.
I know. I understand that. It wasn't until that game. It happened one time all season long.
But that's why they put the ball in his hands. He's the fastest dude in football.
I don't. But did they have him back on that initial kick return before that? That's why I'm saying just kick it regularly, not a touchback, not a squib kick. Just kick it regularly. Let him return it. Then you waste 5-6 seconds.
I think he's the fastest guy in football when he beats you. I don't think he's the fastest because Terrell Owens almost beat him in a race. Okay, and if Terrell Owens is almost beating you in a race,
but Terrell Owens is still run like 4.4s.
I understand that, but he almost beat you in a race, and I'm telling you, he's not the fastest guy in the NFL. He's one of them, but he's not the fastest. There are a lot of fast guys.
For the Bills,
Harden's pretty damn fast on that team too.
Yeah, I think
he's pretty fast.
Hey, whatever. I just want the Buffalo Bills to stay the course. Don't overreact. Don't panic.
No.
Trey White, you don't know. Everything they did was to beat the Chiefs. And you just punched them as hard as you could in the mouth.
The only problem,
and they punched you
the
back.
only problem with Buffalo going in the offseason is they have 7 guys that are free agents on the defensive side of the ball.
You have to bring them all back.
They can't.
You have to.
They can't.
I don't. I understand what you're saying. You have to bring them back.
They can't.
Or you replace them in the draft.
I'm just telling you.
Mario
You can't.
Addison.
You can't
can lose Jerry Hughes.
I'm just telling you. You can't sign all 7 of them.
Matt Milano needs to get.
All right, if you sign 4, it's probably fine though because they drafted a lot of depth though.
Matt
The
Milano.
problem is the main problem with the Bills is they really didn't have.
How much cap do the Bills have? I don't think they have a lot of cap. And to sign
all their
7
guys are young.
I'm
outside of Diggs, I'm pretty sure most of their contracts.
No, they just gave Josh Allen a $250 million contract. There's no way they're going to be able to sign all 7 of them. They'll probably sign 2 of them. They're going to lose a lot of players. They're not going to have the same defense next year. They're not.
They'll be fine.
I'm telling you, they're not defensively. They're losing a lot of guys.
And they're getting back the most important one.
Oh, Josh Allen?
Trey White.
That's fine. We don't know how good he's going to be coming off.
Half of Trey White's still a top 15 corner
fine,
in the league.
whatever. Again, you're losing the best from the best defense in the league. You're losing 7 starters, maybe even 8. I think 7 or 8. I forget what the number was, but I saw it on the list. They had like 7 or 8 guys.
Are you looking this up?
Yeah, right now they have 2.8 million in cap at the moment, but once like Errol's saying, like once the veteran defensive players, I think get rid of because Hughes is on a pretty big contract. I don't think Addison's was big, but it's still a veteran guy. Those guys are going to be gone anyway. Those were expected, so you could just probably replenish a cheap contract veterans minimum pass rusher type thing. The young pass rushers
easy to find.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy to find, but the thing is, the younger
Hughes is one of the best pass rushers in the league.
Nah, not that much anymore.
Why?
He
He had a bad year. Because he had a bad year.
The last 3 years, he really hasn't been a same player.
The year before that, he was pretty damn good. I think he had 8 or 9 sacks.
But still, nevertheless, the problem is with the Bills is they lack the depth, and they're relying on a lot of rookies because they can't play the same snap count.
Hey, your Jets can use Hughes.
I think the Jets are going to. I think what the Jets are, if Thibodeau falls to the Jets at 4, which they're saying he could very much fall to them at 4. If Thibodeau falls to them before, I think the Jets draft Thibodeau. I think that's what they're going to do.
There's 3 guys they need to bring back.
Let me see.
Harrison Phillips.
Let me see.
He won't cost much.
Or Vernon Butler, one of the 2.
Phillips is better. Butler's
You
older.
say he won't cost much.
Phillips won't cost much.
Again, I'm going to tell you. You keep saying he won't cost much. There are teams that are going to offer them more money, and if they want him,
they might want to be there.
They might, but why would you pass up on $4 or $5 extra $1 million or $3 extra $1 million when you could go somewhere else and make that money? I'm telling you, the Bills are not going to be the same team they were last year.
They'll be a playoff team.
But the good thing is
They
with
might
their
be, but they're not gonna
defense,
be as good.
the good thing with their defense is they locked up a lot of the key players.
Right.
Where you
Now
have
bring back Levy Wallace.
yes, and he's going to be the one that's tricky because he's a
He's gonna get paid.
he's a
Somebody's gonna
versatile
pay him.
he's a versatile slot corner and can also be a safety too. So I would make that the main
You know where
priority.
he might go?
Yeah,
the friggin' Jets.
We'll see. I'm not gonna.
I think Jerry. I think the Jets.
I'm not gonna predict anything happen.
I think the Jets should get Jerry Hughes though. Jerry Hughes.
No, because they already got Carl Lawson, and if you get another guy that's in like an older dude, the pass rush, and Lawson gets hurt, then Jerry Hughes is getting double teamed again. The Jets are in the same boat. Now you're paying both of them.
but I also think the second year of development for a lot of these other pass
rusher
rushers.
available in the draft and see where it goes.
Sure, but also the younger.
They're going to have to bring in another pass rusher because these guys can get hurt.
The draft.
I understand that you're going to draft a young pass rusher, but I think they're going to bring in a veteran pass rusher that they could get for $5-6 million. I think the Jets.
I don't have the list of free agents in front of me.
There's a great list for this year for defense. It's loaded, absolutely loaded.
Yep.
For defensive players this offseason.
Jeff says Casey can run 2 plays and kick a field goal in 13 seconds, and Dak can't even run 20 yards in that time. Snug says, how many times did the Packers get a pump blocked in return for a touchdown this year?
I have the list right here. Some of the.
What do you got?
Chandler Jones.
Von really? That's right. I forgot he wanted to be traded.
Oh, Clowney's there.
There's a lot.
Randy Gregory. Melvin Ingram. Hassan Reddick. Yeah.
There's a lot. This is
Harold Landry, the third.
Free agent defensive class.
No, Harold Landry had a nice year, too.
Yeah.
The safety from New Orleans, Williams, is available. He's going to be available.
Justin Houston, Mason. What's his name? Marcus May.
Marcus
May.
Marcus May is probably not going.
How the hell are the Jets not talking to this dude?
They're not. They're not going to. He's coming off an Achilles tear. I don't think the Jets.
Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett.
He still believes that he should be paying top dollar. And I don't think pay him. Why would they do that when they can get Williams for the same price? And who's better?
Who knows? Marcus Williams doesn't want to play in the cold weather.
I'm sorry?
Maybe Marcus Williams doesn't want to play in cold weather.
I'm just saying, it's all about money, bro. It doesn't matter where he wants to play.
Safeties are interchangeable too.
Money talks.
It's not. It's something you could get later
They're
in the
the
draft too.
You got Derek Barnett.
You say they're the Jets. The Jets have drafted very well the last time.
I'm saying no one's attracted to go to the Jets.
Mhm.
When's the last time the Jets signed the big guy in the offseason?
Well, there's no big guy. When was the last time a big guy was available?
I'm just saying every offseason there's a best free agent available. When's the last time the Jets got one?
You're always looking at the quarterback, and the Jets are not looking to bring in a free agent quarterback. They're just not. They never do. The only one they did was Brett Favre. That was the last time we saw them bring in a big-time quarterback in free agency. Besides that, I don't remember the last time the Jets brought a free agent, big-name quarterback. I mean, when you look at the defensive players, there really isn't every
I guess
year.
Jerel Worthy the second time if we're going to cheat, but
Darrelle Revis was done when he left after
right.
he won that Super Bowl with the Patriots. He was done.
Yeah, he was bad.
So yeah, but you got the defense free agent class is
bad with the Buccaneers.
he didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there, and he wasn't 100% healthy. He made some big plays with the Buccaneers when he came back. Well, anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so the defense is the free agent class for defense is crazy.
It's great.
Charles,
it's loaded.
Charles Harris is out there. You got Jason Pierre-Paul, a free agent. Man, I mean, it's. I mean,
Serious Watt.
Huh?
Why this Watt deal's not done?
You don't
I
see.
don't understand.
You don't see. Yes, the Jets traded for Favre, but
I wonder who's gonna.
Gosh, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that was the first time the Jets put in a player that was available, that was a star at the position of quarterback. That was the last time you saw the Jets do that.
Yeah. I'm not saying Marcus Williams is a star, but he's a stud to say
trade or no trade. If they traded, what did they trade? A 4th round draft pick for Brett Favre? I mean, like, seriously, who cares?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now.
If they just told Brett Favre,
they still had to pay him too. So whatever.
When it comes to Chandler, I'm going to say this right now. When it comes to Chandler Jones, whoever has the most cap space will sign him.
Cleveland.
Who?
Cleveland?
He'll go to Cleveland.
Cleveland?
Who are we talking about?
Chandler Jones?
Chandler Jones.
Jones is going to go play in Cleveland.
I don't think he is. Why would you want to go?
I don't know if Cleveland can afford that much of a pass rusher, that high. Because
whoever has the most cap space will sign Chandler Jones.
Got Myles Garrett on the other
he's
side.
going to have to take a pay cut for that, though.
Chandler Jones is going to go wherever he can make the most money.
See, I don't know if necessarily he'll be seeking a championship. He has a championship, so it's not like he really needs to.
He wants to win.
Maybe he wants to win one outside of New England. Okay, but he might want, like Nathan's saying, he might want to strike it rich. He might even stay with Arizona.
And Watt's
but
going to get cut too. They're going to lose Watt. Watt ain't staying there next year.
Well, he's probably only going to go for 1 year.
I can see JJ Watt going to Pittsburgh to play with his brother.
He probably will.
Maybe.
I think I could if he
Both
decides
his
not to
brothers
retire.
are there, by the way.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Derek Watts.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Derek Watts.
That could happen. I mean, with the class, teams like the Giants that are so and the Cowboys, where they need so many pieces defensively that can make them a better team in all different areas. This is a class that you want to be a part of, where you can go into free agency and bring players in, and you don't have the money. And this is, you don't see a class like this that opens up defensively as good as this defensive class is. And that's why I say when you look at the Jets, do the Jets go in the draft drafting defensive players, or do you just do that in free agency like Douglas has done it year? And it hasn't worked so far because Douglas hasn't been good in free agency, but you could bring free agents in for 3 years over, pay them over the top. And in the back end, you could get rid of them, because next year they signed Corey Davis to I think a 3 or 4 year deal. They paid him on the top of the contract, where next year they can drop his contract and it doesn't cost them anything in the salary cap. So they can get rid of Corey Davis next year and it won't hurt the cap. It won't hurt the cap. And that's why Joe Douglas, to me, he's doing what Bill Belichick does. And Bill Belichick, he's been a king of doing this. Brings players in, gives them a contract, and when he gets sick of them or he doesn't think they fit this scheme anymore, he gets rid of them. And it doesn't hurt them.
Another interesting,
but no one's really done it efficiently but him.
Well, Bengals, if you look at the Bengals draft classes, he's had the Bengals out of all the organizations in professional football, the Bengals have had the best draft classes in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals had the opposite problem for a while. They were too cheap and didn't keep
their
players.
Their draft classes are the best in football. They've been the best. By far, I think. I think if you look at the players, they're still in the NFL. So it's crazy.
But they don't know when to move on from players.
Right, they're too cheap. They're the other way around. They have the same problem that the Chargers have, where their ownership is so stubborn and cheap. They let a lot of those players go. The Bengals are an even better player development organization.
Contract's going to be a problem for them.
No, but beyond that, they don't have a lot of big contracts right now. And notoriously, how many players did they let go too? And the same thing with the Bengals. They don't keep a lot of these players and have to build like a middle market team all the time when they are very good at player development.
This is a class that you want to be a part of, free agents.
Yeah. Right.
You want to have the money to go. Like Oakland's going to have. I mean, Vegas is going to have money this offseason. And that's why you hear Devontae Adams' name's getting wiggled around. And here's another story that's coming out that the Las Vegas Raiders have reached out to Seattle.
Well,
and the story is that Seattle might be willing to trade Russell Wilson to Vegas. He wants to go to a big city. He wants to go to a place where he can be center of attention. The story is it's Derek Carr, a first this year and a second, a first and a first next year, and Derek Carr, and that will seal the deal. So 2 firsts, a second, and Derek Carr. I think honestly, I think Vegas is getting ripped off. If they do that for Russell Wilson, Derek Carr's not far off from what Russell Wilson is. He really isn't.
You need if you want to get Devontae Adams, you need those first round picks in handy to get the Devontae Adams. But
if Derek Carr goes to Seattle, Devontae Adams might go play with him in Seattle. Yeah. He likes Derek Carr. He doesn't have a relationship.
They're good friends. They're good friends.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So if you're on the Raiders
That's
and you
what
want Devontae Adams, wouldn't you keep that guy?
Well, I like we've heard from Jerel. Jerel said that it could be a package deal for him and Aaron Rodgers. And
then you're not trading for Russell Wilson to trade.
No,
him to
that's
Green
why
Bay.
I think if anywhere it would be the Broncos, because the Broncos have a lot of good young receivers. They've got picks. They could trade for Aaron Rodgers. And they could trade for Aaron Rodgers.
Like I said, the trifecta. Nathaniel Hackett, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams.
Oh, God. Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach, Nathan? Come on, man.
You
know who the last two Green Bay offensive coordinators that became head coaches?
If Brian Flores goes there, I bet you gets traded there.
Denver?
I think so, yeah.
I think
Brian
where Flores goes is where Deshaun Watson goes.
Yeah.
I don't think the Broncos will take on Deshaun
The only
Watson.
way, I don't think anybody. Adams is a free agent. There will be no package. No, Aaron. First of all, Devontae Adams is not a full. He's what is it? A restricted. He's a restricted free agent. He's not unricted. So they have to. They can franchise him.
Make this very difficult.
And they can franchise him, and they're not going to let him go for free. Nobody. There's no way in hell the Packers are going to give him away for free.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's just no way in hell.
It seems like Aaron Rodgers' trade decision or release decision, whatever,
he already said it,
is going to be pending on Devontae
on the
Adams.
waivers. After the season, I think 2 weeks after the season, you have to put players on the waivers. As soon as he sees what they're doing with Devontae Adams, he's going to make the decision on what he's doing.
But they even announced this before this season even started. They were on Instagram talking about this is the last run, or they compared it to something to The Last Dance. Or there was a post one of them shared about The Last Dance. Yeah. They know that this was their last year, possibly together in Green Bay. But definitely the two of them in Green Bay together, they knew that was done.
And again, Jeff says there's no way they keep him as $40 million. That's fine, but they're going to franchise him and then they're going to trade him. They're not just going to say, "Here, you want Devontae Adams? He's the best wide receiver in football. Take him." They're not going to do that, Jeff. I don't think they're that stupid.
And honestly, I think who gets Devontae Adams is going to be kind of disappointed.
I don't think so.
Well, I think so.
Why?
Because I just don't see him. I feel like
think
Aaron Rodgers has made him look a little bit better than what he is.
He's a great route runner.
All right, so he falls from the first or second best to the sixth. I don't think they're going to be mad.
No, I think he falls out of the top 10 altogether. I think this is going to be.
I wouldn't go that far.
Watch.
I used to think that way too, but no, I think he's grown his own game.
Michael Thomas is going to be in a similar boat because he's going to be traded. He's gone.
Yeah.
He had all the injury issues. Then he didn't play this year. Devontae Adams has played.
What's his name again's gone,
and he might just get cut.
Well,
the Saints don't want him back, and he doesn't want to be back.
The Saints are $74 million over the cap, or they were saying.
There is
some
no
crazy
cap.
number. Yeah,
they're not. No.
Yeah,
But
they're
they're
gonna-
going to be bad next year.
He's
They're gonna
coming
be
off a major.
They're gonna have to shed a lot.
Michael Thomas is coming off a major injury. He's not going to get a big time contract like he got from the Saints when he had it. So
He
not
didn't deserve the contract the first time.
He was pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, it's really easy to be good when Drew Brees throws the
It doesn't
ball
matter. You
every
got
time where you need it.
Where you need it. He's got to make the runs. He's got to score the touchdowns.
Drew Brees made him.
Well, he also did well in that season when Brees
He
got
was
hurt
great.
too.
He
So
was great.
I think the bigger problem is one, he got hurt the next season too, and I think since he's been back from that, the little games he played that season, that he hasn't looked as good. And then this year he sat out the whole thing.
He's
So
a great player.
That's where I think he's not going to have the same leverage with Devontae Adams. And
No, Devontae Adams is going to have the leverage. He's going to get to go where he wants to go.
Absolutely has the leverage. I'm just saying Michael Thomas is going to be a guy that teams are going to go.
I'll
oh,
take
you're
him.
Cheap.
I'll take him. As a Jet
good
fan,
luck. Good luck. I bet you want him cut by week 10.
No way.
Okay.
If he's still young, he's still in the prime of his career. I think
He's a
28,
knucklehead.
29. That's fine. He's still a great player.
Okay.
He's still a
All
great
right,
wide
go ahead.
receiver.
He'd actually fit in very well with you guys. So go ahead, son.
Whatever.
It's like says Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams joining the Texans and win the Super Bowl.
He's probably right. That could happen. I mean, why not? I mean, if the Texans got Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, I think they're a Super Bowl
You
contender.
know what's funny? You know what I just thought of just now? The place Aaron Rodgers really wants to go the most, he's going to lose to Tom Brady again.
What are you talking about?
Tom Brady's going to beat him for that job for San Francisco.
No,
that's what Rodgers has always wanted.
No, I heard
he
that
wanted to get drafted by the
I
Niners.
heard where Rodgers.
Wait, hold on.
I heard where Rodgers wants to go. Hold on, Nathan. I heard where Rodgers really wants to go is Vegas. That's what I heard. That's where he wants to go.
It's very well known.
And that's
he
where his
wanted
house
to be
is.
Drafted.
That's where his house
Great.
is.
Absolutely.
Right
That
on the
could be
outskirts
true
of
now.
Vegas.
That could be true now. But as a kid growing up and watching football and being from Cal, he wanted to be drafted by the
That's
Niners.
fine.
He wanted to be Joe Cool. And then deep down, he still wants that Niners job. He's just not going to say it. But when Tom Brady goes there,
Well, Tom Brady, if he does go there, will get it for this year.
This has nothing to do with
He'll
Tom
get
Brady.
it
Why
for
would
this
we
year.
bring in
Rodgers
Brady?
still has the
You have to bring
extension
him up
year
at all
too.
times.
Yeah.
He's
still-
your goat.
He still has the extension year though too. So
he's
even
your
if he
goat.
even if he
He's
plays the
90%
2
of the
years
playing
out and likes it
He's
in
your goat.
wherever he goes,
95% of the
Raiders or Broncos, wherever he goes, and then if he does like it, he'll stay the 2 years. If he doesn't, then he'll probably demand out of there too. Then he might end up going to the 49ers.
Honestly, it doesn't
I
really
don't know.
matter.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play as long as Brady did. But
He's not, but he's going to play another 3 years at least. He's 38.
Right, which is why I'm thinking maybe his last year, maybe the 49ers.
It's either the Broncos or Vegas. Those are the only two teams. Maybe Green Bay. I could see him re-signing with Green Bay too.
nah, it's done.
I don't know.
You know what? I could see him. I could see him going to Pittsburgh.
No, he's not going to Pittsburgh. He's
still
not
waiting.
going to Pittsburgh.
Don't be surprised if Mike Tomlin steps down too soon. Because I think he's shot. I think he's done.
I never liked Mike Tomlin. Never liked him.
No, you can't say that.
I never liked
He's
Mike Tomlin. Everybody that listens to the show, I don't like that. That's great.
since
Mike
he took over
Tomlin.
as
Mike
coach.
Tomlin at the point. He's had great defenses. He's had say whatever you want about Ben as a player. As a player, Ben was always a good quarterback.
So Tyler, you think so? Why not just if Tom Brady wants to come back, or we don't know what Tom Brady needs?
He's coming back for one more year. I know.
Okay,
Jeff
but-
says he's retiring.
But if Tom Brady does come back, why not just stay with the Buccaneers? And then that's when, if you do stay with the Buccaneers, and then all the weapons will be coming back, Gronk will be coming back. Or
That's what I think will happen. No
Gronk's only going to come
franchise
back
tag
if Brady comes back to Tampa.
So-
Otherwise, he's
so-
screwed.
Yeah.
So if Brady goes to San Francisco, then Gronk goes to San Francisco.
I mean,
There's really no spot for him
on
there.
San Francisco. They run two tight ends all the time, and Kittle could finally get open again.
I think Gronk is retiring for sure.
It depends on Brady. Now, here's the thing: if Tom Brady decides soon that he wants to play football, like his wife's like, "I'll give it one more. We can last one more year," then he's going to go back to Tampa Bay. But if this is like an ongoing thing, and Tampa Bay says they're going to give him all the time in the world, they can't do that. We've seen Brett Favre hand tie the Green Bay Packers that way. They're not going to do that. They're going to say it. They might even give him till June, July. They're not going to wait till training camp and all that shit. He's going to have to make a decision before that organization because they need a quarterback and they need a young quarterback regardless.
Jeff says there he already made the decision. He's telling everybody. He's already telling everybody where he is. Where Rhode Island and Tampa over there that he's retiring.
What?
So that's what Jeff's saying.
I mean, he has Gronk or
no, it's Brady. He's saying
Well,
Tom
no,
Brady
because I
is
know-
retiring. He's already told people here that.
Whoa.
So it's listen. All I know is Tom Brady loves the game too much for him, I think.
Yeah, but his son's going into high school.
I get it.
and he
I'm
wants
not
to be
saying
around
it's
his
wrong.
kid.
But he might retire today and then be like in May, hey, I really wasn't ready. Can I come back? I mean, Brett Favre
If you start to see, hold on one second. If you're retiring and all in the offseason, teams are starting to build their teams and everything like that. No team, as good as Tom Brady is, no team is going to take Tom Brady if he decides, hey, before OTAs, okay, I want to come back. I'm telling you, because they built their team around a certain player. They're not going to say, okay, we're going to bring Tom Brady in. If Tom Brady quits and he retires, he's retiring for good. There's no way he's going to just change his mind.
No, because
we've
never seen a quarterback retire or unretire, come back.
Tom Brady is not that type of quarterback. He's not Brett Favre. He's not any of it.
But he loves the game more than Brett Favre.
So did Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning
retired because he literally couldn't play anymore. Physically could not play anymore.
That's fine. In your eyes, he still won a Super Bowl. I mean, still. Prepare for Kyle Trask era.
Kyle Trask. Oh, CJ's going to love it.
Oh, my God.
He's saying Tom Brady's done. And if Tom Brady goes up there and he makes a speech that he's retiring, he's not coming back. I'm telling you, he's not. If he's going to sit down with his wife and his children and he's going to say blah, 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 blah. And if he hasn't done it already and they're going to say, Dad or sweetheart, we got to move on. We're a family and we want you to be a part of our lives. As soon as it happens, he makes that announcement, he's done.
Well, this is going to be interesting because now if Tom Brady retires, and we haven't got an official word yet that Brian Leftwich has agreed to the deal with Jaguars.
He is. He did.
Okay.
He did.
He did. Okay. So I was going to say, this is going to be interesting, though. If Tom Brady
why wouldn't you have a great young quarterback over there?
No. If Tom Brady retires, and then this going to be so the big question for me now, this is going to be interesting if Bruce Arians wants to step down now.
Yeah, he will. He had to step away from Arizona for health reasons too, and he only came back to Tampa Bay because he has a good connection with Jason Light, their GM.
Yeah.
He would have stayed in Arizona if he was
quarterback
able enough to coach.
This quarterback class that just passed with all the quarterbacks that we talked about, Zach Wilson and all that, I think this was one of the best quarterback classes we've seen in a very long time. And I think all 4 or 5, even Mills, I think he's going to be a good quarterback in the league. I think
Kyle Trask is not okay. I don't like Kyle.
I think all of them are going to be good.
I don't really like him either.
Even the guy that Minnesota drafted in
Kellen Mond. I remember you did like him.
I like him too. I think he's going to be good too. I think Kellen Mond's going to be good too. So
I couldn't disagree with you two anymore. But hey, it's not my time to decide. And
disagree what? What are you talking about? Kellen Mond?
No, that whole draft.
That quarterback class, I think they're all going to be good. I think Justin Fields is going to be good.
I think Mac Jones is going to be all right.
Kyle Trask is not great.
And then that's about it.
Do you think Kyle Trask is good?
I don't think so.
How do you feel Justin Fields is going to be good when he has nobody around him? And now, by the way, they're taking away their best wide receiving target. How's he going to be good?
Because I've seen Justin Fields toughness. I like his toughness. I think he fits very well in the city of Chicago. He's mobile. He's strong and he's tough. That's what a leader is. Your quarterback doesn't have to have all the throws, he needs to lead. That's what a quarterback's job is. You're the face of the team. You lead the team. Fields lead the team.
There was not one time this year that Justin Fields actually stood out of any of the quarterbacks.
Then why'd you just say he's going to be good?
I think all of them are going to be. But out of all the quarterbacks that I mentioned, I think, what's his name again? Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Those are the two guys. And Mac Jones, because he plays for the Patriots, and he's a system preference quarterback. I think he'll be good because he fits the system. But the two quarterbacks that are move inside and out and can throw the ball, those are the two quarterbacks. all the other quarterbacks that really, I believe, especially in the second half of the season, that stood. Even Trevor Lawrence in the second half of the season, he looked really good. He made some fantastic throws in the second half of the season. And by the way, Zach Wilson is the only quarterback out of all the quarterbacks in this class that won rookie of the week, offensive rookie of the week 3 times out of the 17 weeks. He's the only quarterback that did that this year out of all the quarterbacks. So that says something. And it all happened in the second half of the season.
Probably not a lot of them went to quarterbacks though either. Mac Jones might have won 1. Maybe Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, maybe Trevor Lawrence won 1. I think that game
Justin
against the
Fields
Bengals
didn't win none.
No, I wouldn't imagine that.
I said Davis Mills. I like Davis Mills.
Yeah,
I like Davis Mills.
But even so, like how many?
I said that, Jeff.
How many of them probably went to Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle?
I'm saying that out of all the quarterbacks that played this year at that class, Zach Wilson is the only one that won 3 rookie of the weeks. He's the only one out of all the quarterbacks that did that. And Justin Fields won 0. Okay, not 1. So he didn't stand out of all of them. I did.
Terrible coach.
Speedy, who did I like the most out of the quarterback class that I liked in the beginning?
You said Wilson.
I'm talking about before we changed the picks. Who did I like the most?
Fields.
Justin Fields. I liked him the most. Before I looked at the quarterback play and I suggested to redo what I thought the quarterback class was. And then when I looked at it again, I saw the intangibles of Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Mac Jones. Mac Jones was my 3rd guy on the board. So, and everybody didn't like Mac Jones. So just so everybody knows, I actually liked him. So just so you know. There you go. Nathan, do you have anything to say before we go?
Yeah, I was going to say if the Bears do get Brian Flores as their head coach, do you see the Bears trading for Deshaun Watson?
No.
No?
Well, again, Justin Fields, they could, because Justin Fields, they could trade. He's a piece that they could trade to the Texans. If you look at Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, they're kind of the same quarterback. And we don't know what Justin Fields is. We know what Deshaun Watson is. What?
Davis Mills.
Well, Davis Mills is going to be a good quarterback, but he could be a great trade piece to the Texans. They can move him, and maybe at the way he played this year, you can get a 2nd-round pick for Davis Mills.
No, you can't.
Absolutely.
You can't get a 5th rounder for DeMarcus Lawrence, but somebody's going to give you a 2nd rounder for
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want me to give you Davis Mills numbers?
No,
on that
I don't
team?
want to go over Davis Mills numbers.
No,
DeMarcus Lawrence.
66%, 2,664 yards, 16 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and he had nobody to throw to. Okay,
that's
a pretty good season. Oh yeah,
DeMarcus Lawrence
got over 1,000 yards receiving. Brandon Cooks is a pretty good receiver.
Oh yeah, Brandon Cooks is a great receiver. That's why he's been to how many teams in the last 5 years?
How many 1,000 yards years does he have? I'm not doing this with you.
Good. You don't have to do it. Davis Mills was better than Justin Fields this year. Way better.
No,
Way
I'm not
better.
saying he wasn't.
On a worse team. On a worse team. Yes.
Close.
Not even close. Yeah.
That offensive town.
The Texans right now, they're drafting where? They're drafting what? Second or 3rd, and then you have the Chicago Bears that are drafting 7th. Okay,
Separated
that's
by what? 2 games.
That's a significant amount in football. You are Jeff. You're Jeff. 2 or 3 more wins is a significant amount.
So
all right. And Davis Mills, who has the least amount of talent.
I didn't know I was talking to Jeff all of a sudden.
I'm just telling you.
But like,
just telling you.
Well, every time there's an argument, Jeff's name.
Well, so I think the Texans need a receiver in this draft to help out.
Texans need everything in this draft.
They need
relocate.
They need a couple of receivers. They need a tight end. They need.
Texans need pretty much everything besides interior defensive line.
Honestly, they play the same amount of games. It's not even close. Just Davis.
We understand.
Davis Mills was way better.
Fields was a 1st-round quarterback. Then Mills was a.
And I just told. And I'm just telling you. Look what the Giants traded to get Justin Fields. Davis Mills, I believe, is a good quarterback. And yes, you can get a 2nd-round pick for Davis Mills. If you were to trade Davis Mills right now in free, if they decide that they're going to make a trade here and make a trade there, you could get. I would like to look at draft status and everything like that with the quarterback class the way it is and how weak it is. I would take Davis Mills over half the quarterbacks in this class.
Why would you trade him?
What do you? I told you if you could
build around him, then.
Because right now you have control of Deshaun Watson. If you can get a significant amount of picks from the Bears for Justin Fields and you could trade Deshaun Watson there, I would make that trade.
If he had a better year by your mouth, then why would you trade a quarterback and bring him in when you already have the better quarterback there now? Just rock with him. Use the draft picks to build around him.
Because maybe they don't think Davis Mills is going to fit with the coach. Maybe he doesn't fit the offense that they want to run.
So hire a coach that says he's my guy.
You think it's that easy? Just hire a coach and say he's my guy.
You don't think the head coach of the Giants can say Danny Jones is my guy?
Who are you talking about? What head coach?
The coach for the Giants is going to say Danny Jones is my guy. The coach for the Dolphins is going to say Tua's my guy.
Teams lie all the time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because Daniel Jones is almost the identical quarterback and I don't know how good he is, and we don't know what he could turn into. Josh Allen and Daniel Jones is, who they are as players are very alike. They're very alike. You can put your head down and say whatever you want. Hate Daniel Jones.
I no, I don't hate Daniel Jones.
Yes, you do.
He's inconsistent, and
so does half the quarterbacks in the league. So is half the quarterbacks.
Half, yes, that means half of them aren't.
The majority of them are. Mm-hmm. There's maybe 7 consistent quarterbacks in the NFL, and the rest aren't. Go ahead, give me ones that you don't.
I'm not doing this. It's 12:30. I'm tired. I'm not doing this. We can
12,
do this
11.
tomorrow.
It's 12:11. Tyler, you need to calm the F down.
I'm
You
very
need to
calm.
relax. You're
very
going all
relaxed.
over the place. And
All right, I'll
doing anything. I'm just.
Anyways, Nathan.
Then I'll save my James Harden take for tomorrow. Then.
Yeah, you could absolutely.
Because I need to. I have something to say about James Harden, and
well, there's a lot. Tomorrow we're not. We'll talk about the 2 games, but there's a lot to talk about with the Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Yeah, and the Hall of Fame. I I need to talk about the Hall of Fame too, because I don't get what they need to change the voting thing around a little bit. I don't.
I don't think the writers should be picking the votes, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
But, the Nets are a mess right now. I got to say something about the Nets, and they're definitely struggling. Even though they're 3rd in the East, they're a team that's really struggling, and they lost again today.
That's why they're talking about trading James Harden. So.
But I just want to say thank you again for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
We've been looking forward to tomorrow, and please continue supporting our show. Whoever's in here, go follow our show, The End Hour, on all social media platforms. We have a great guest list coming up. We're finally back at it tomorrow. So since I'm feeling better, so back at it tomorrow. So tomorrow we got Antoine McLean coming on the show tomorrow.
I saw that, yeah.
And then Friday we got Mark Edwards and then Colin Cole. Monday we got Master Teague, former Ohio State running back. Now he's a draft
running back in the league.
NFL draft prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tuesday we got Mark McMillian from the former Eagles, Alabama, and Chiefs cornerback on Tuesday. And I'm currently working on something big, so stay tuned. I'm hoping this thing comes to fruition. So there you go.
Oh, you're talking about a listener? You're talking about a guy that you're going to get on?
I mean, I don't want to ruin it. Should I tell you? It's dumb to tell you or no?
Go ahead, God.
I'm working on getting Edgerrin James on the show pretty soon.
Edgerrin James? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hopefully that thing comes to. I'm talking to his PR person right now.
Awesome, man. That's a great get if you could get him. That's for sure. All right, Nathan. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thank you, and see you guys tomorrow.
Nathan from the NR Hour, a great kid.
Hey, Tyler, let's go R.
Yes. Don't say that R word on live radio, please.
Sorry.
Whatever that is. That's it for our show. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. So stay tuned for that. Until then, this is Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison saying good night. We'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.